What's up? What's up? Grace and peace, Grand Rising. We are here on a Saturday. I know it's impromptu, but just wanted to talk about some stuff. Hold on a second. My children's, well, one of my children's. But please make sure to hit the like button. I see Smitty's in the building early. Thank you. Salute. And my Lotus was here early too. Thank you, my Lotus. All right. So anyway, today's conversation, I'm also going to be opening up the panel so we can have a dialogue. I don't want this to be a monologue where I'm just talking and sounding outdated and sounding holier than thou. I don't want to do that. But I do want us to reflect and, and think about the things that are being presented to us. I'm out there in that spiritual world as far as seeing things in a different perspective. I know my Lotus is well tapped in as well. And we know that certain things that are happening right now are psyops, right? So what I'm talking about today is the divine feminine energy, right? What does that look like? And I'm also going to be bringing out the old good book, because I can't go there without it, because we're going to reference some stuff, because the divine feminine is not only just this powerful energy, it's also a moral energy as well. Now, men can have divine feminine energy as well in them, but I'm talking specifically to the women, because here we talk that divine feminine, divine masculine, right? It can be interchangeable. Doesn't mean if you're a male and you have this divine feminine energy in you, or this feminine energy in you, that you are any less of a man. It just means that you're more intuitive, with the nurturing side of you, the maternal side of you, if you will. All right. And let me tell you something. My father, rest his little soul, bless his little soul, was definitely, he's a Pisces, or was a Pisces. So he had that feminine energy in him, but my dad was masculine to the umpteenth. That's alpha masculine, if you will. But he showed me how to be a young lady as far as grooming and hygiene, taking care of my body, covering my body up. So this is alluding to me talking about Keke Palmer and Janelle Monae. I'm going to pronounce her name wrong throughout this segment. All right. And Copyright Disclaimer Act of 1976, fair use, fair use. I'm going to be going into some articles that I pulled up so that we can reference our content that we're talking about. I don't want to sound like I'm just pulling stuff out of my head and being this belligerent, angry, as they call Black woman, because we want to take our emotions out of it for a second and be conscious about what we're saying, how we're going to address this situation, because it is something that I have talked about. I just talked about this about 2 weeks ago in regards to this. That's right, Lotus. Masculine energy is the protective, while the feminine energy in us is the nurturing side. Exactly. So when we see somebody, I'm getting goosebumps. You just gave me goosebumps, my Lotus. Also, I have no air conditioner in my room, so the fan is blowing. You're going to hear this whirlwind tunnel, and I got my other little fan situation going on over here as well. So forgive me with the noise. It's very hot. The world is cooking. Mother Nature is cooking. All right. That's the divine feminine. And she can also be a Lilith, in where she's savagery. She's taking no shorts, right? In my head, a Lilith is like the warrior, is like, it's almost like the Orisha Oya. It's that I don't want to say aggressive, but yes, it's this warrior aggressive, but still has this feminine aspect about her that knows what she wants, knows what she likes, and takes no shorts. That doesn't mean that she's walking around scantily clad to show herself off for attention. Let me reference really quickly. I'm going to be referencing the good book every now and then. But the first part that I wanted to reference is coming out of Proverbs, Old Testament. And this is chapter 2, verse 15. I'm going to go back a little bit. Verse 13. Happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. Happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. For her proceeds are better than the profits of silver. And her gain than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her. God today, Lilith's like an emperor energy, exactly. Which she can possess the masculine, feminine energy, but still be a woman, right? And then we have the whore of Babylon. So what are we talking about here? A lot of stuff is playing out in the spiritual aspect. I keep saying this, we're going to keep talking about this, that we are in this spiritual warfare. We're losing morality, right? We're losing morality for the sake of, that's right, a Proverbs woman. That's right. And I love that part. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her. God, today, that means that nothing you got going on will compare to this woman, because she is more precious than rubies. She should be taken care of in this way. Now, to counteract that, you do have some females out here that you wouldn't want to give your last dollar to. You wouldn't bat an eye to, because they don't deserve it. That's the ratchetness. Listen, I was on a panel last night listening in. I didn't get onto the panel, but there is a big gap in the generations where I was listening to these young ladies, and the moderator happened to be a man, and right, a Jezebel incubus, right, and succubus energy. Right, Lotus, you know we're going in today. We having Sabbath early. Sunday school is coming early today. All right, because we're going to think about some things, because it's crazy. Like, my teenage daughter came up to me and told me about the Keke situation. She's like, Mom, did you see what's going on with Keke? And I'm like, no. And we had a conversation about it. And she's like, Mom, you really just grew up in the whole masculine, like, men raised you. And I kind of got offensive about it, because I was like, damn, but my dad did a good job. She says, but yeah, Mom, if the girl wants to wear whatever she wants to wear, why is that a problem? Why is he even saying anything, talking about Keke's child's father? So over the weekend, Keke Palmer, who's an actress, went to an Usher concert. JBJ's in the building. Salute, Jay. Thank you. If you have time, come on up. I'm going to drop the link in a minute, but I just want to get my ducks in a row. I want to set the stage, as they say. Let's see here. Oh, listen, I had people come after me in the chat, because, I'm going to say my thing. So Keke Palmer went to go see Usher at his residency in Vegas, right? He's doing his little spiel there, show over there, right? And Keke Palmer happened to She says here, so I'm reading out of what is this magazine? I don't know. I got it off the what is this? I want to make sure I'm quoting something right here, but I may not be. All right, well, fair use anyway. So when Usher saw Palmer, she screamed. They hugged and then began crooning Usher's song "There Goes My Baby" together. Their lips merged inches apart. As a video of the moment spread across social media, there was one person who wasn't fond of the interaction, and that was Darius Jackson, Palmer's boyfriend. Oh, they are together. Who she shares a 5-month-old baby with. I thought she wasn't with him because the way he sounded out seemed like he was a bitter ex-boyfriend. Now, let's put in context that these people that we're talking about are all avatars here. They're all people playing a part, dressing up, dressing down, right? Fitting a character in this entertainment industry, right? So we don't give too much credence, at least I don't, to them. But we do understand that there is a younger influence, there's a younger audience that is very heavily influenced by social media. Shalom, Black Zionists. Woo, salute to you, bro. Okay, DMV in the building. I don't know if you know Crank Lucas, but Crank Lucas is he's a song producer, rapper. He's from that area, but he's in Atlanta now, and I was on his IG yesterday. Man, I tell you, I feel sorry for the young ladies now out here. Like, I really do. FL's in the building. Salute, salute. Peace to you, my little bro. Long Island strong. Okay, New York is in the building. So I'm gonna have the thing drop down, the link drop down in a minute. I'm trying to just set the stage so that I don't want to come off sounding like an old hag, even though I'm going to be 47 in 2 weeks, right? And I'm coming from a different genre, a different time frame. But that's not to say that my great grandmother era with Josephine Baker, you know, she's like the great grandmama of all that shaking and twerking. All right. And that scantily clad type outfit. However, Mama Josephine was also a performer, but only did that act when called for. And she wasn't gyrating around doing that on a regular. If you check on your phone or you go into your tablet or you go into your computer, you can see women gyrating almost pretty much anywhere now. I seen this one woman stop in the middle of a Walmart and start doing it. You start shaking her behind. She heard a song and she started doing it. It's like you can't control yourself now. This is where the Jezebel and the Babylon's horror starts to come in. Because what are you doing? So Keke Palmer's boyfriend and baby daddy said this. It's the outfit though, right? He tweeted about Keke's black see-through dress, which overlaid on a bodysuit. So my daughter's trying to like argue with me, my youngest. But Mom, she was wearing a bodysuit and she had a lace dress. Yes, but when she turned around, all her behind was out. And she purposely turned around and was kind of doing a little 1-2 and Usher singing to her. So now he's getting backlash. They're treating him like he's a bum in the street. But this is the man she chose to procreate with. And he's getting the backlash as to how dare he say something when she has every right to X, Y, and Z. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. I went to go see Jodeci back in 2016. I wasn't wearing all that. I had on a nice little fedora hat with the little black tank shirt that was kind of like a baby doll with some black tuxedo pants. Now, granted, Keke Palmer is 29 years old. However, she is now a new mother. I told you this, and I said it before. I'm going to say it again. I was a teenage mother. I had to realize that I cannot be running around here being the whore of Babylon when I have a young child and not only that, but a daughter that's going to see me. My big cat is in the building. Yay! Love you, big cat. Salute to you. That she's going to see me in a light, and I don't want her to see me that way. It's not respectable. Let's go back to the Bible real quick, guys, because we're losing the morality of stuff. And you could be out of your Quran, you could be out of your Bible, you could be out of the Torah, whatever it is. There's a morality here that we're losing sight of, and these young women are clapbacking at. It's okay for her to be like that. It's okay for Keke. Why can't she dress like that? They don't understand. And the moderator yesterday asked, with a panel full of females, would you like it if that was your mother up on the Essence Festival showing her boob, or wearing a scantily clad see-through dress, shaking around and hugging on Usher? And all of them almost unanimously said yes at the same time. Why? Because you got young grandmothers doing that shit. As I said and mentioned, yes, Josephine Baker of the time was out there doing that. However, my grandparents and great-grandparents was not doing that. They were Christian, God-fearing people, and so therefore you dressed not, head to toe covered, but you're not walking outside looking as they would call a whore. Let's move on. In the Bible, Proverbs 13, chapter 2, verse 13. We're in the Sabbath right now, right? We're doing Shabbat. Happy is the man who finds wisdom, and the man who gains understanding. For her proceeds are better than the profits of silver. My favorite part. And her gain than fine gold. Verse 15, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her. That is your divine feminine. That is what we're looking at here. What we need to be looking at. What we're seeing play out is your whore of Babylon. And Lilith, I can't even say that's too much Lilith energy, although Lilith exudes this sexuality, and she is kind of like the precedent of being this sexually, using sex magic for things, right? But what we're seeing play out is more on a lower frequency, lower chakra, where we're tapping into the root chakra, the red chakra, and the orange sacral chakra. Now, where's that other? I got 2 more verses, and then I'm done with the good book. First Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. Awake to righteousness and do not sin, for some do not have the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame. Let's move on. I don't want to talk too much about husbands and wives, because that's Keke Palmer and her man are not husband and wife in the eyes of God. So there will be some immoralities going on. We'll talk about, some people beg to differ with the concept of marriage. There is the legal, yes, and then there is the spiritual aspect of it. They're not obtaining the spiritual aspect of it. So I'm going to skip over that part. But I will say this. Where is that? Where is that, Peter? Okay, in Peter, right? First Epistle of Peter, chapter 1, verse 13. Therefore, gird up the loins of your mind. Be sober and rest your hope fully upon the grace that is be brought to you, that the revelation of Jesus Christ as an obedient children, not conforming yourselves to the former lust as in your ignorance. So basically, guard up your mind, protect your thought process, because lust can take over. And then this is what we were talking about last week about the spirits, right? Drinking alcohol. So Keke Palmer's boyfriend clapped back on social media, went on to Twitter to say, you know, it's the dress though. Now, I then sat here and listened to my daughter explain to me her side of the story and how most young women are caping for Keke. When I then said, well, maybe he's, you know, sounds he could be a little jealous, the boyfriend, you know, they may not be together. But in this article, it says that they are. That's her boyfriend. All right. Keke's 29. Now, let's move on to Janelle Monae real quick. I may be saying it incorrectly, her name, but these people don't pay my bills. Usher has FL. Let me read your comments really quickly. Thank you, Black Zionist. He says, keep cooking. Okie dokie. Yeah, she did a little bit too much, FL. I mean, but you know, whatever. Exactly, representing melanin woman with the newborns. She's got, technically, the baby's under 6 months. It's a newborn. I understand you're itching to go out, and you know, you're feeling a little depressed. Women have this postpartum after having babies and things of that nature. Right, Lotus, exactly. Sometimes you need to feel attractive after having a baby because your body goes through things. I can get that. Men have women gyrating on them all the time. Yes. But it's at a specific spot though, Lotus. See, and that's the thing. Like I was hearing that. You know, oh, if it was men, with the women throwing themselves at. This one guy kept saying, yeah, but if the guy was wearing, if it was a guy that was wearing the gray sweatpants at the spot, a woman would lose their mind. I'm not losing my mind if my husband's wearing gray sweatpants. That kind of thing is like, it's cute for a moment. Now, if this was the shoe on the opposite end and I saw like my husband hugging on Sade, I really can't. I mean, it's Sade, right? It's like it's Usher. But there's a difference because men are not going to be walking around here like, you know, skimpy. They're not going to do that. Now, if he was wearing a suit and he's like hugging all over her and stuff, I'd be like, we're going to talk when you get home. But they're kids. Keke's 29. And I say kids affectionately because I have a daughter who's 30 and a son who's 25. So Keke could be my kid. But she's in an industry where they hypersexualized children, right? Keke came in as a little girl, innocent, sweet, Aquila and the Bees, and now she's got on a see-through leotard showing her buttocks off. How did we come from all that? But I understand that there's a coming of age, and you know we want to, shed their layers and show our bodies off and things of this nature. I may be sounding hypocritical, guys, only because I didn't have that type of body. So I always hid myself. I still cover up. Now, in time and place, when I went to the clubs, I mean, I didn't really wear dresses. I always kind of like wore jeans and stuff. Or if I wore a dress, I have shorts underneath. Like I'm protecting myself because I don't know what deviant I might bump into just because I'm dressed a certain kind of way. And that's what I'm trying to explain to the younger ladies, especially like my daughter. While yes, you have a right to wear what you want to wear, but there's consequences to that, good and bad. And these young ladies out here really don't want to take consequences. They want to just be like, I'm out here, hear me roar, all that damn feminine lib and all that. So now your great grandmother, who did all this feminine libs, right, and all this stuff to walk outside and ban their bras because they didn't want to be with. Like, think about the psyops that did. Another case in point, Erykah Badu. When she came out, what was she dressed like? Wearing a turban and some African garbs and had her head wrapped all the time. A couple of years ago, she did a video and she butt naked in Dallas. I mean, butt naked. The only thing that was long was her hair. Because she was doing a song in regards to like freedom and all this stuff. Janelle Monae has a new album out, right? And it's called Topless. So at the Essence Festival, she's taking off her shirt and showing her boob with a pasty covering the nip. Janet Jackson, that happened to her 20 some odd years ago, and they pretty much outcasted her for a couple of years. Do you remember that? Janelle Monae is 39 years old. She came out back in 2018 to say that she's a queer Black woman and she's pansexual. So now her doing all this is like, why? Because that industry is filled with that type of energy. Janet Jackson is not swinging any other way than the long way, if you get what I mean. Right? So to them, that's like, that's appalling. White America was having a fit. But understand, rightfully so, Essence is co-opted now by a white man, but his wife is Black. So whatever, they're going to let anything goes at this point. Janelle Monae, or however her name is pronounced, she's 39 years old. She's a little older than Keke in that regards, where you know that certain things you shouldn't be doing, right? You're hitting your 40s. But again, that's entertainment. But we didn't listen. At 40 years old, Tina Turner then became who she is now. Right? She had to start her life over from leaving out of the abusiveness and not being the creative person. And at 40 something years old, she became What's Love Got to Do with It? That Tina Turner. And still in all, even though she had on her little one piece leather mini dress, she was still elegant. What we're seeing here today is not elegance. It's all out. I can freak it and show it because you know what? Beyonce has a song called Put Your Freakum Dress On. And when you get mad at your man or you break up and he gets on your nerves or whatever, go to the club and freak him. Meanwhile, she's wrapped up with Jay-Z. So what are women's... I mean, I'm done. I'm confused. These young ladies that I was listening to last night, I don't know. I think one's got baby children. I don't know. Her man wasn't there, but her kid was at 11 o'clock at night still up. And the little baby was about 5 years old. But you want alive to fight for why a woman should wear, Then another young lady, she just was, fighting against what the moderator was saying. And he's like, listen, if that was your mom, how would you feel about that? Would you like that? Like, he's speaking as a modern, because he asked the question of are we losing sight of the modern woman? And one girl was like, well, what's the modern woman? You are the modern woman right now. I'm not the modern woman. So I'm kind of out of tune with today's views in society. Because you got a lot of people now that don't value the institute of marriage. They don't value the sacredness of being whole. And listen, you don't necessarily have to be legally married, right? But we do understand that that's a sacred union between man and woman. And a lot of what you call modern women these days are not doing that. They probably didn't even have a role model in their life. They probably were raised by their grandmothers who lived a generation before, and probably doesn't have the energy to deal with this next generation. So you have a younger group of women that are raising children, or rather grandchildren, and they're not instilling the values that are coming down in generations. Let's see, one more thing here. I think I covered that all. So with Janelle Monae, she says in US Today back in 2018, she says, the interviewer asked, the singer revealed the genders, what gender she has dated, and clarified how she identifies. Being a queer Black woman in America, someone who has been in relationships with both men and women, I consider myself to be a free love proponent, she told the magazine. But then later, I read about pansexuality and was like, oh, these are the things that I identify with too. I'm open to learning more about who I am. Sounds like confusion to me, but who am I? All right. I'm going to drop the link now because I said what I needed to say. I set the stage. Anybody wants to come up and voice their opinions respectfully, and also please do not use cuss words. Because this little platform is gone down and I got to build it back up again. So we're going to try not to refrain. Try to use code words in between certain stuff, like use your God-given brain. All right. Again, so now Lotus, what is it? Says I'm an artist, so I see the artistic side. Right. I mean, yes, and I get it. And he shouldn't have. So that's the other thing, right? In regards to Keke Palmer, no, he shouldn't have berated her in public. That was childish. And she hasn't changed since he met her. The only thing that changes is that she became a mother. I heard that yesterday too. Psych, I was in the building. Salute, Psych. Haven't seen you in minutes. After the dances, you know what? And in Vegas, yes. These are all times and places, my Lotus. These are all times and places of where these things can happen, and that's acceptable, right? You're going to Vegas, there's showgirls there. As I just said, Josephine Baker would be considered a showgirl, right? But then later, as you can see her progression, she would wear like beaded gowns. She would have her body pretty much covered up because she was getting tired of the exploitation. She knew what she was doing. That was a very smart woman. And so, yeah, you do have Vegas with the showgirls out there and things of that nature. But I also see a lot of the Keke Palmer type dressing outside. I see a lot of the, the Spice Girl type environment where they're just, I mean, listen, I saw a video and I forgot who sent it to me. But it was, I think it was like 3 or 4 Black women that went out to Ghana, to the port of where the slaves, the African slaves, were taken from and brought across the seas. And they're twerking. They're shaking their big booties on a fort where the answer, and it was like, this is to the ancestors. So I'm like, which ones? The white colonizers? Because you can't be talking about the ones that was wrapped up with chains around their neck. Oh wait, and then the backlash. So let me. So then me commenting on the whole shaking the behind stuff. This one woman, who JBJ's in the building. Hold on a second. This woman comments to me yesterday and says, because my comment was it was a woman talking afagainst this culture of shaking their behinds and things of this nature. Janelle Monae having gyrating her behind, basically dragging her butt across the stage, whatever. So this woman says, folks who quote ancestors and don't know anything about tradition dance can sit down. Respectfully, BS is at its finest. So now you're gonna bring the ancestors in and be like, oh, well, the ancestors. Which ancestors? You talking about the Africans, or you talking about the indigenous people of America? What are we talking about? Whose ancestors? Oh, but the ancestors were shaking. There's people now in Africa that when they are in a ceremony, they do it. Stop making it okay to go ahead and shake your ass. If you want to shake your ass, then that's it. But don't bring in the ancestors and start invoking the dead and talking about, oh, well, they did it. They did it in a ceremony. They did it in rituals. It wasn't like they doing the shit 9 to 5. So she says to me, she writes a whole paragraph, because I said, but it was done in a ceremonial setting, not on stage for fun and attention. Well, she says now, a whole paragraph, she writes to me. So now we're policing dance, one of the most fun, interactive, celebratory, and healing actions of the planet. It's not what I said, though, right? You heard what she wrote. She said ancestors. I'm combating to, nah, these chicks is doing that shit for fun and attention, for likes and views. When most people of color have at least one story of their parents, family having them show their people the dance, the babies, like basically like, baby, show them what you got, and would have the child dancing in front of everybody. Babies naturally twerk. Why? Because it feels good. Okay. They don't learn it from anywhere. Oh no. She says because it's innate. The woman in the video who is disgraced from the hate she has internalizing, and she's now projecting on other people. Her tone is dripping with vitriol. She is miserable. I wouldn't want her ass nowhere near me or anyone I know. Her energy is stank. I'm sorry, babies don't learn what now? Because when my youngest daughter, when all the single ladies came on with Beyonce, my daughter sure enough was going She was 16 months. Or 18 months. She was still under 2 years old. I didn't show her that, but she saw it. Because we were watching videos. Babies don't know how to coordinate dance. They're not doing all this, right? So the instinct of them is to bounce, and it looks like what we call twerking, but that's their little rhythm. They may rock side to side, or they may bounce a little bit. It's not twerking. So now we're sexualizing babies twerking. I'm done. Let's get JBJ up in the building. Thank you.
See.
Oops. I don't know. Salute, Jay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're on. Yes.
What's up, girl? How you doing today?
I'm good. What's up with you? Haven't seen or heard from you in a minute.
Cause you don't come around no more, girl.
I do. Don't you start.
Now I like the topic that you're talking about today, like, and I like your perspective on it, cause it really seems like a lot of people are just making excuses. They're just making excuses for bad behavior.
Thank you. And I don't want
One
to.
thing I noticed.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I
No,
just
no,
do.
no, my bad.
I don't want to come off sounding like the because people are backlashing, with saying NDR, because NDRE came out and was like, nah, this is wrong, fam. And we know that NDRE was always about, beauty. She's giving us the divine feminine, if you want to look at it that way. She's always talked about the consciousness of things, the black, her hair and things of that nature. She never came out twerking or doing any kind of exotic dances. So so somebody was posting that, and you got a thread of people commenting like, "Oh, this woman was right," and then you got other women who were like, "Nah, she's wrong for that." And then this one woman who I just mentioned, she's talking about, "Oh, but the ancestors did that." I digress. Go ahead.
Now I'm glad that you actually brought up to her that type of dance was done during rituals. Let's say we conquered a tribe. Let's say some spiritual holiday that we're celebrating over there. Yeah, people would get out there and dance and do all that, and all that shit. They weren't sitting in Walmart twerking on top of a cash register. And what I'm noticing that a lot of these chicks are on, and I get it. I get the concept behind it. I don't approve of it, but a lot of them would defend other females doing that just because if they choose to do it, they don't want anybody saying anything to them. And when that lady went to the babies, you were talking about the babies. Why do babies do that? A lot, like, if we want to actually talk about it in modern day times right now, the reason a lot of these babies are out here twerking is because they in the living room with their mom and them making TikTok and YouTube videos twerking the music. And babies ain't nothing but a sponge, and they soak up what they see, so they go on and do it too.
That's a fact.
So I'm like, it's just bad. It's just bad behavior. Like what Keke did, like, it's one thing to wear something provocative out of the house.
Right.
Like that, especially when you have a man and you got a newborn at the house. Because a lot of ladies, you already know it, we all heard it before. A man just had a baby with a girl. The baby's 5-6 months, and he's at the strip club. Women will kill him for being at the strip club. But it's perfectly fine for Keke Palmer to go out to the Usher concert with her ass out in a sheer dress, showing off everything she got, and then having this man serenade her on stage. Like, I don't even believe the boyfriend was wrong, because a lot of people saying like, okay, well, you need to address her in private. Well, she disrespected him in public. There's a respect level to this stuff. You're not up in another man's face. Like, I get that ladies want to do whatever they want to do, but once you get into relationships, once you get, like, even at a job, you have to abide by their rules. And I understand in a relationship is a give and take. Man has his do not, and the women have their do nots. But it's working with each other. And he clearly had an issue with it because he's sitting at home with a child and he's seeing this stuff pop up on social media of his girl all up in your face. That's disrespect. No matter how they want to shape it.
Thank you. I needed to hear the male's perspective, because a lot of females are talking back, and rightfully so, because it is a woman's issue in a sense, but men are seeing this as well. And you like, again, I'm gonna sound like the old hag, because like I said, I'm gonna be 47 in 2 weeks, so I'm kind of out of the modern woman. I've been out of that game because, one, I have children, I'm married, and you're a representative. And even if I wasn't married, but I'm with this man, like Keke and her boyfriend, you are an extension and a reflection of that man. Like, you're loving. Now you have if y'all didn't have a child together, he would not be saying that. Dollars to donuts, he would not.
Yeah.
But because
I believe that wholeheartedly. Right.
So because they have a child together, and now it's like he's serenading her. She got her hands wrapped around him. I mean, she fanned out like, oh, this is Usher. But there's a difference. Now, if you had Keke, if you had on this little black dress that wasn't see-through and you did that, I don't think there would have been too much of a problem either, because you're still covered, but your dress was see-through and your yams was showing. That's a little issue. Go ahead, Jay.
It's levels to all of it. Like it could have
Yeah.
disrespect starts they started real early because clearly he obviously had a problem with her. Whether it was an outfit, mainly he just addressed the outfit, right? That was the main thing he said on social media, right?
Right, because that's the first thing he said was, "It's the outfit, though." The first thing he said. then he
So
goes
clearly
on to say, yeah.
No, what did he go on to say?
No, and then he goes on to say, you're a mother. But the first
So
couple of words was the outfit.
So he covered both points that I would think would be important to me. It'd be something that I would say, but we would really have an issue with that because it made it seem like when he put that message out, because he was saying all this on social media.
Mm-hmm.
For the people to come back at him, first off, that's their relationship, and clearly he has a problem with it. And for outside people to step in and be like, "Well, he shouldn't feel this way. He shouldn't be that way." I bet money those same people were alone. They ain't got nobody at home that they can come home to.
Bingo.
You keep one, like everybody has to sacrifice, and I don't get it, man. Like I don't know what the liberation. I talk about this shit a lot.
Exactly. This is definitely up your alley.
Oh yeah, this so-called liberation of women. What were they liberated to do? Shake their ass and do whatever the fuck they want in public? Because that's what it seems like. And you even covered Janelle Monae and all these other girls. Like Janelle Monae is a really good female artist.
Mm.
But you can see the shift that she has in her career now because she's supposed to be bisexual, whatever the hell, all that other crazy stuff. She was making good music and she was known for the music that she created. Now she's trying to show her ass off. Like, why are you trying to show your ass off? And it seems like all of these, I think a lot of ladies just feel like they're missing out. Honestly, with other females doing this type of stuff, I think a lot of them feel like they're missing out on what the other girls are doing. So even despite this situation, whether you got one kid, two kids, whether you're in a committed relationship, whether you're married, or whatever, you still want to do what the single girls do. Well, that ain't how you got your man. And that's how you're going to lose your man. And for all the ladies that want to sit around and call a man insecure, like you can call him insecure till the cows come home, but it always comes back to respect. If you don't respect the guy that you're with, why the hell do you even expect him to respect you? This man's at home with your baby. But you out here in Usher face with your ass out. Like, come on now. Like, I don't get how any lady can defend it. I see why they do it, but I'm like, look, it don't make no damn sense and it don't make it right. I don't care how many people you get on your side to say it's okay and stop being all this. I just tell them to shut the fuck up because clearly you got something wrong with you and you're never going to find the person that you actually really want to be with if you're doing stuff like that. It doesn't work like that.
I heard yesterday in this live that I was listening to that now I just lost my train of thought, but basically just
listening to a lot.
Yeah, I mean just it's advocating this type of thing and well he didn't meet, let's say you met a woman at a club, right? Well, that's how you met her. Mm-hmm. So the girl's argument is, oh well, if they met like that and now she's been like that, why is this man not talking about Keke, but in general, why would a man have a problem if the woman's outside like that? But that's how they met.
Oh, that's perfect. I love that like little twisted logic. Okay, you met me while I was broke too. Don't be telling everybody you left me because I was broke. Nah, that's how you met me. Live with it.
Okay.
Females would not like that shit. They would not like that shit. Like, it's one-sided logic. And it doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, I met you in the club as you were single. It's kind of like you can refer back to how they said in the Bible. Like when I was a child, I did things as a child. But once I became of age, I put away childish things. You can refer that just to relationships. When I was single, I did things like people that were single. But once I got into a relationship, I put away single shit. It's like a lot of ladies want to be in a relationship, but still want to be able to move like a single person. And then turn around when guys have an issue with that and call them insecure. I always tell dudes, you already know, I already tell dudes, any guy that's in that situation and his girl tries to gaslight him or like brainwash him, manipulate him into feeling like he's some type of way, leave that type of female. You don't need to be with that one because clearly she does not have enough respect for you. She didn't have enough respect for herself, him, or that baby. You're a mother now. You're supposed to be an example. I don't give a fuck if it was Usher, Barack Obama. I don't give a fuck Usain Bolt. Don't matter who the fuck it was. Because you want your husband to make that same excuse. He went to a Nicki Minaj concert and Nicki Minaj over there act like she giving him fellatio on stage. You telling me you wouldn't be mad about that? Like, we already know what time it is. So
that's a perfect example. I was trying to bring up like an example. Some guy kept trolling and was like, oh, but if a guy wore his gray sweatpants outside and was doing that, you get upset. I don't care about the gray sweatpants. But the fellatio, like if Nicki Minaj is rubbing her ass on my man and I see it, I'm not going to tweet about it, but I'm going to be like, wait till you get home. I'm going to text you, be like, oh, word. That's what we're doing. Right? But they're young, so this is where social media is. Everybody's airing out their discrepancies, their grievances, right? This is everything now. Social media has got it's a therapist for people. So he's saying, Keke Palmer's boyfriend is saying, look, it's the dress, and aren't you a new mom? Right? I think he got more. Of course, he got more clap back from women than men, because men understand certain things. Then when I was on this panel, the girls was just talking over the moderator. They was just going, and he's like, see, y'all proving the point. Y'all don't listen. You don't listen to nothing. You listen to each other, but you're not hearing what a man wants from a woman. If I'm asking you, what is the modern woman, and you can't really listen to what we're asking for, there's a problem. I was just sitting back like, yo, let me in, coach, let me in. But he didn't put me up on the thing because it was on IG Live. So you only let a certain amount of people come up on the live.
You know what's funny about what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? It's like a lot of ladies always say that they want to be listened to. They want people to take them serious and stuff. But then you don't extend that exact same gesture that you want. The man wants to be like, when he tells you some shit like that, like, here, first off, if you laid down with a man and gave him a baby, you should at least be able to respect him and understand that he should be the leader in your situation, like in the situation that y'all are in together. Whether y'all give and take on different whatever situations that might pop up where y'all both have to handle it, you still refer to him as being the man, and you should respect him. This type of behavior shows that you have no respect. And if you don't have respect in a relationship as a man, you don't have a relationship. Like you just don't. I don't know dudes that sit in a relationship with girls that disrespect them, but I don't understand why girls sit in relationships with guys disrespect them. Like, if you don't have a basic level of respect for each other and take other people's feelings into consideration, because ladies like to talk about feelings all the time. Like, why can't it go both ways?
Well, somebody just asked a question. Somebody just asked a question in the chat. Cosmology based. Salute to that brother. Fellow Cancer in the building, and it's our season. Go Cancers. He says, would it be? He says, would it be insecure if a man asked his girlfriend not to go to the club?
I don't believe so, but it all depends on the situation. Everybody doesn't have the same situation, in my opinion.
Right?
It's all different. So, like, okay, it could be his girlfriend, just like Keke Palmer. You got a newborn baby at the house. I don't think that man's insecure for saying not go to the club. So, you just got to find your perfect situation where you want to ask that question.
Well, here's the thing. That's not just a club. That's the Usher concert, right? And I don't think it's a problem with her going. Absolutely not. She's having fun. She just had the baby. She needs some time to vent, right? Let off some steam. But the boyfriend said his last name is Jackson. It's the outfit, though. That's the first thing he said. So that led me to believe that they weren't together. But in the article, it says her boyfriend. So I don't really know if they're together or not. And if they're not together. Oh, so I mean, he's clearly like, listen, it's your outfit. So you didn't see her when she was wearing out. Like, you're not together because you don't see what she wore when she left the house.
He probably had an issue with it when she left the house.
And she left anyway, right? So,
Yeah. Look, you see all the videos of girls talking about, if he tells you don't wear that or he doesn't like you wearing that, go ahead and wear it, girl. I'm like, I
just told you that Beyonce had a song called the Freakum dress in her Sasha Fierce album. And she's saying, you know, if the dude got on your nerves or you just left him, wear your FM dress and go in there and start freaking them. You giving a green light. But meanwhile, she got Jay-Z in the cut.
Yeah. Like, man, that's the thing, man. Like, and I've noticed this about a lot of ladies. I ain't trying to be mean to them, but a lot of females you got a hive mind. If they see the group doing it, they feel like it's okay to do it, and they're more likely to do it. When men are more individualists when it comes down to making decisions about stuff, because a lot of dudes don't want to follow behind another guy. But these they'll follow behind somebody like a Beyonce or like a Cardi B or something like that. When these girls take their ass home to their husband, while you sitting at home being strong and independent, doing all this woo stuff, you're single. Cardi B won't even let her daughter listen to her music. But ladies treat that shit like it's the fucking gospel. I'm sorry for the cussing. I'm sorry, Foxy. They treat it like it's the gospel, man. People got to mature and understand. Like once you get with somebody, hopefully you pick a good person to be with. And I'm not going to say partner because it's not a partnership. No matter how many times people want to say it, you pick the man that you want to be with. Hopefully you got enough trust in him for him to be the man that you want in your life, to be there to provide for you as best he can. And in today's time, most of the time, most people are going to be working, but hopefully you got a man that you can follow behind and trust him. And a lot of these ladies, they pick dudes, and clearly you can see that they don't trust them to lead anything. So I'm like, why are you even wasting your time? You're going to be like some of them girls I see that turn like 30. It's like, I did all the partying, I did all the clubbing, I did all this woo stuff. I got it out of my system. And now the men that I'm getting with in my 30s, they're doing all that. And I don't understand why we just can't get on the same page. I'm like, how do you not get that? Like, when they wanted to commit, you was off doing the whole shit. And now that they made it to a certain place in life, they got some money in their pocket, they doing the whole shit. Now you mad because now you're tired of that and you want to settle down. A lot of them are gonna miss out because it seems like that's kind of the move right now. A lot of older ladies are doing it, and you automatically gonna have the young ones doing it. That they just want to be out here and advertise like they got a for sale sign on their fucking car. So, oh damn, I got some cussing. Sorry, Foxy.
It's all right. But yeah, you're right about that. Sorry, I had to take a call.
What did you think about her outfit?
Huh?
What did you think about her outfit?
I have to agree. It's a little bit much, but it's in an environment where it's like warranted. But the fact that she showed, now I didn't know all this. I didn't know that she's in a relationship. I didn't know that she had a baby. Does it change a little bit? Kind of, sort of. And that's me. And it could be hypocritical. But let me tell you something. When I was 15 years old, I got pregnant. When my daughter was old enough to see me, like really see me, I had to slow all that Babylon shit down.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, I grew up with morals. And yeah, although I became a teenage mother and that was against the grain, right? I still conducted myself as a young lady. And I was discreet about the things that I did, and I showed my daughter. Why? Because that's an extension and reflection of myself. Keke's gonna get it because this baby's just born, so she's not really thinking like, oh, this baby's gonna see me like this or whatever have you. The dress was a little inappropriate, but then it wasn't, because the environment called for that. You could kind of dress like that because she's in a kind of clubby arena. She's going to a show. If she not got up on stage with Usher, I don't think we would be really having this conversation.
It wouldn't.
She could have been sitting in the cut, like, just dancing like, oh, there goes Usher, and the camera panning in on her like, oh, Usher. But the fact that she was up there and then wrapped her arms around him, it starts to shed some other light on things. That's all.
Nah, you're 100% correct. Like, the boyfriend probably already had an issue with her leaving the house like that, but to then see it all over social media, that just quantified the issue right then and there.
Exactly.
It's the only reason he responded to it, because he clearly didn't like what she was wearing. He didn't like it. And, like, honestly, as me, like, me being a single guy, let's say I'm out and about. We walking into the concert. I see a girl dressed like that. In my mind, she ain't got a man, so she free game. Let me try to holler at her. And her man knows that. He knows that. Guys try to prevent situations like that all the time. And yeah, guys will talk to a girl in sweatpants if it come down to it. But the risk you run is greater when you out there with your backside out, showing
Right.
your whole body off. And
Exactly.
ladies know that because ladies know that Kiki knew that because she wore that for attention. If she just wanted to go hear Usher do his concert, she could have wore anything in the world. She chose to wear that.
Right.
Ladies ain't stupid.
And that's the
You
other
know they ain't
thing.
dumb.
That's the other part of this listening on and on this live yesterday, because it's an attention thing. The girl tried to rationalize, and when I say girl, she had to have been like 24 years old talking. She's trying to rationalize whatever I'm wearing. She's trying to bring in, oh, I've been around people who are Brazilian, Caribbean, and they listen. When you doing the carnival and all that stuff, there's a time and a place, and yes, those women are dressing and wearing bikinis outside, and there's a time to twerk in those arenas. But we seeing chicks in Walmart, we saw them on top of the I just mentioned it before, about 3 or 4 women twerking on top of the port out of Ghana where the slaves were taken. They're talking about here, this is for the ancestors. It's becoming an epidemic of foolishness. And we are trying to rap and rhyme and reason with, oh, but the ancestors did this. Oh, but it's okay because I went around this culture and this is how they do. No, you don't see the Hindu women doing that shit. You don't see the
Asian women doing that.
You don't see the Asian women doing that. It's just us, and we are being commercialized to. It's a detriment where people are thinking this is okay because the world is under our spell right now with this genre of hip hop. The 50th anniversary this year. Go ahead. Yeah, they did.
I won't even just put it on black women now because it's more of an American thing. The culture in America follows behind what black people do.
No, that's exactly. But we are the precedents, right? Because if you think about, we set the stage and everybody follows. So now it's been co-opted, culture vulture, remixed, flipped upside down to now where. But what I'm saying is, culturally speaking, you're not seeing. Okay, so then this young lady tried to say, well, the belly dancers in the Muslim culture, they're in a specific area doing belly dancing. They're not doing this all the time. So they're trying to really match this for why women are doing this. But I just read to you guys, this woman just tried to say that it's innate in babies to gyrate. That you're not learning it from anybody else. I beg your pardon. Have
you ever noticed? Hey, Foz, you ever notice every time that they see a baby doing some dancing, there's always some music playing in the background, right? We don't never know if it's a TV showing it, whether it's some mom playing over Bluetooth on her cell phone or some shit like that. But the baby's dancing to the fucking music, and that baby has seen. Like we all know, most people don't play a song one time in their house. They finally got this song on a playlist and they like this song. So ain't no telling what them babies done seen, their parents doing. Look, I done seen 3-year-olds twerking, like bending over, touching the ground, and bouncing their butt up and down. And you'll see the mamas and the aunties in the back, go girl, go girl. And I'm like, this is where they getting it from. Stop trying to act like it's just something natural.
Right. This lady has said that. Oh, she said it in the paragraph that she wrote in the comment section to me. Well, there's this one family that says that. The family member, go ahead, girl, show us your dance moves. Listen, I did it. I was the kid that they were like, but I was acting and performing, like on some acting, not dancing. But I was putting on full shows for my family in family gatherings. And by no means was I wearing a mini skirt. Was I scantily clad? First of all, my family was not having that.
Yeah.
The fact that I was the only one out of the crew that got pregnant early was like, we failed this one. But then we knew this one was just a running rebel. And they still supported me. And I still showed respect for my body, mind, soul, for my children, for my mate, because I know that these people are extensions of me when I walk out in the street. I'm not perfect, and I do not sit here and act like I'm the divine feminine, because I could be Lilith in a minute.
Hey, look, I believe. I believe it. Look, I
That's
always
what
tell
you
something
like.
like,
I got Lotus in the
I just
building.
want to tell them. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
That's all right. This is my moderator extraordinaire. She's very spicy right now. She couldn't even get her earphones. She's like, listen, I gotta get up and talk.
What,
But go ahead,
jalapeno
go ahead.
spicy?
Oh, I got to catch my breath. It took me like 15 minutes.
Go ahead, Jay. Say what you was gonna say.
No. Oh. I hope Lotus ain't jalapeno spicy right now. Leave it at
She's a
that.
Scorpio, so she can be.
Oh, she just like me.
Salute.
I did not know that.
Love, light, healing, and blessings to Big Sis Foxy
My
and
little,
Baby J. But I personally didn't have a problem with Keke Palmer. Now, I'm not saying that I'm okay with women just being in Walmart, standing on top of counters and twerking just anywhere you go. But I am a mom. I do have 5 children. How I dress does not dictate my motherhood. I also dress like that when I go out. There are different standards in different relationships. So you can't base what works in your relationship with what works in somebody else's relationship. Now, the twerking, it could be much for people. But if you're going to an Usher concert, you already know what's going down at an Usher concert. There's going to be gyrating. You know when they get called on stage, you're going to be gyrating. This man, when he met Keke Palmer, she was a gyrator. Now, the issue I don't feel is with what she had on. It's a bigger issue. He does not trust her. They had other things going on behind the scenes, and he chose to say something about what she had on. I'm pretty sure that's not the first time she don't dress like that. She probably don't went out with him dressed like that. But all of a sudden, because he's getting messages back from social media, it's a problem. But why is it a problem? What are you not doing to make you feel that she is out here doing whatever? They just dancing. They just singing. It's a concert. I don't have a problem. And that's just me personally
No, we
with
need to hear the
my
other woman's
significant other going out.
right. No, we need
I
to
don't
hear the
have a
other.
problem with him going out. And I also know, can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm just saying that we need to hear
But I
another.
don't,
Wait, hold on. We need to hear another woman's perspective, because I'm coming off on a different. I'm playing devil's advocate because I can do the whole, like I said, the Lilith thing. But I'm like conscious about how am I presenting myself when I go outside, irregardless of children or not. You still have to have some type of conscientiality when you walk outside, because remember, you'll attract things, good or bad. It's the consequences that is
that's
left
true.
behind that. But go ahead, Lotus, go ahead.
But I don't mind my significant other going out dancing, females gyrate, because that's what's going to happen. But that does not dictate what goes on at our house behind closed doors. We still have that certain level of trust. So I know whatever he doing outside, it ain't gonna affect what we do behind closed doors.
Hey, Lotus.
So I look at it. Yes. And I have
You keep saying
um
trust.
been part of Islam. I also dress modest, but I also at the same time I also, if I want to put on a see-through dress and go out and have fun, I will do that. We have to learn how to balance both your light and your shadow energy. Sometimes your shadow energy might be the spicy side, but you got it's balanced. And we also got to realize that this stuff that we see on the screen, this is not a reality. This is what they do. She is an artist. That's what she does. That's why you have to teach your children how to be able to discern what is real and what is this 3D matrix. All this is matrix.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
And see, I got an issue with a few things you said. Perception
what
is reality.
it is.
Perception is reality, right?
It's your
So
reality though. Each
regardless of,
person's.
well, you're the reality that people put around you is based off of how they see you. Like your first appearance with somebody. You say you can't never make another first impression. All right, so Keke Palmer walks out of the house dressed like that. It doesn't take away from her motherhood, in her opinion. But people are going to perceive her a different way. Would you agree?
I agree, but that's their perception.
So it is their perception. Now, after seeing that and it's their perception, you also said something about like everybody has their own relationship and some people need to stay out of it. I agree with that. The only issue with the situation is her man, her baby daddy, her boyfriend had an issue with it. And the pushback was that he's insecure or he doesn't trust her or all these things. But wouldn't that wouldn't your statement make the people that are commenting saying she can do whatever she wants in the wrong for getting in their relationship?
She can do whatever she wants because that's her relationship. Everybody is allowed to do whatever they want. Our perception of things is based on the environment around us and where we were raised and how we see things because of our moral compass. Yes,
Well, I
but
can't agree with that.
my what somebody else's perception and opinion about me is their business. It's not mine.
No, I'm saying her man was the one who had an issue. He was the first one to say something. That's why this even became a social media thing. Her man had an issue with what she was wearing. So
Right.
all the women that are out here saying that she's fine, you can do whatever you want, all that, aren't they the ones that are in the wrong jumping into a relationship when that relationship between Kiki and her man had an issue with, right?
That is correct, and that he's wrong for bringing his relationship and what he got going on to social media. He could have handled that at home, and yes, we can say that she disrespected him in public. I don't feel that she disrespected him.
Well,
She was and she what no, I don't think that she was disrespecting him. Now, if she was on
no,
stage
but he
doing
did.
something, that's his perception.
He
That's his girl.
he
But
no, 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 no. That's him. He's her man. He's the father of her
I
child.
don't think that's her
He
man.
felt
And just because
disrespected.
he's the father of her child does not dictate how she conducts herself.
It,
He obviously,
you don't think
I
so?
don't even know. I don't even think they're in a relationship. That's him being
They're in a
jealous.
relationship.
I
No,
don't
no,
think
they're in a
they not in
relationship.
no relationship because just like Foxy
They
said,
are.
if they were in a relationship, why he don't know what she had on before she
He
left the house?
okay. I'm gonna ask you this because you said this earlier. Remember, you said this earlier.
Okay,
You
go
said if
ahead.
you wanted to wear some see-through whatever, you're gonna wear it. If your man told you not to wear it, would you still wear it?
If he asked me ahead of time not to wear it, then I would respect it.
Okay. So you don't think that her man said something to her before she left the house dressed like that?
If he did, she didn't respect his opinion enough not to wear it. That's why I
Exactly.
said they're not in a relationship. If they were in a relationship, she would have maybe, okay, I'll change the outfit. But also, this is nothing different. She's always dressed like this. So why is it
Kiki is not
suddenly
always dressed like that.
disrespectful?
Kiki hasn't always dressed like that, and then on top of that, there's a
Kiki
difference. He
has
brought up the
dressed
fact that she wore
scantily.
that outfit. She might have done it before, but that's not what Kiki's known for.
And
Kiki's not
she
known for dressing scantily clad.
Yeah,
She's
she's
not.
not.
She wasn't known for being that
but
type of
she's
girl. She ain't been known for being a
But
real
she is now.
independent type chick.
She is now, and
She
rightfully
is
so,
now.
because she's becoming of age, right? When she first started, she was, had to put on the. Well, she was a little girl when she first came on stage, right? And so now she's a young adult. She's 29 years old.
hmm
And she just had a baby, so she's feeling a certain kind of way. I hear both of you guys. I'm still, on the fence. I think I'm more in agreement with the male's perspective than the female's perspective. I know I'm gonna get stones thrown at me. My daughter threw stones at me. She's like, "Mom, goodness, like
No, it's
I
cool.
swear, it's
It's
like you've
cool
been
to have your
raised with men.
opinion.
Like you can tell you've been raised by men." I'm like, my father raised me the best way he could. As a matter of fact, my father was the one that showed me about hygiene and how to dress and how to, as soon as I started developing, he's like, listen, you can't wear those little t-shirts anymore. You're going to have to put on a bra and another big t-shirt. Like you need to cover yourself. And my daughter was like, Mom, but that's wrong. We should be wearing whatever we want to wear. I said, but as a father, and see, that's the thing. See, and we have some of these young women out here that's screaming about, the man. And most of these chicks don't even have a man. And if they do have a man, they're running over them. And they don't respect, they probably don't even respect their father. They probably didn't have a father. And I'm coming from where my father was like, listen, you need to clean yourself up thoroughly because you're boofing. Get in that bathtub and go wash your ass. You smell like outside. I'm like, word, Dad? My father. Because me and him are like this, so he is observant. My mom is like, she's a woman that can birth children. She loves children, but it's not like a nurturing where it's like I'm on top of things. And my father said, had your mother not divorced me, you would not be a teenage mother. And he's absolutely right, because my father was there. He was in the house. He would take us outside. He would have us go on, go to the park, the beach, everywhere. Wherever he was going, we were going. And he's absolutely right. He said, if your mother didn't divorce me, you would not have been a teenage mom. And he's freaking right. And these young women out here are not having that guidance, so they can sit here and talk to any man recklessly now. They can feel like no, but you still would want to call for him when you need somebody to help beat so and so up, right? So you want this man in your life to protect you, but you don't want to hear what he's saying.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of like devil's advocate in a sense. Like, yeah, I get the whole thing of Keke, coming out in her little dress and things of that nature. She was in a party environment, but the outfit was a bit much. Knowing if she's in a relationship or not, I don't know. It's layers to it, like you said, Jay. There's layers to it. I want to salute before we go in a little deeper. To brother Maybach's in the building. Been waiting for you. We see here that I want to just read some of the comments really quickly. I saw Prince Allen came through. Peace to you, Prince Allen. He says, see-through dress, her body's supposed to be for her spouse only, but and then they're not spouse. See, and I had read the good book earlier in regards to some morally takeaways, and they're not in a. I wouldn't say they're. I don't even know if they're in a spiritual relationship. Like, I think it's just baby daddy, baby mama. This is what it is, and this is sexual.
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah. And we're not taken seriously. And then you have a lot of women who don't want to be married now. They don't want the husband. they want to live their best life, and then when they're 40 years old, they're like, you know,
Where all the good men go.
you know.
But
So, go ahead, Lotus.
when you're in a relationship, that's why relationships don't work, because people want people to change. You think you got to be totally locked down, and you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have a life when you're in a relationship. That is not the case. You do not have to stop being yourself when you get in a relationship. You're still two individual people, free to live your life how you see fit.
Hey Lotus, you know what's funny?
What's funny?
I forgot I could put the.
I would agree. I would agree with you. You should be able to be yourself. But see, that's the difference in the world, and that's why men and women got to understand that we're different. Because things that you care about, most men don't care about, and the things that men care about, clearly when it comes to dressing a certain type of way in public, women don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way. Like being in a relationship, being in a marriage is like being in a job, because there's a contract in between. You have to give and take when it comes to the person that's employing you, the person that you're partner up with. Because I know ladies like to say partner. If somebody is not okay with it, like you saying that a person can do whatever they want. If a man was out here just sleeping with every woman but had a wife at home, that woman still has the option to leave him, right? That would be a consequence of him doing what he wanted, right?
That's if that's what they stated when their relationship started. You cannot.
I'm just asking.
And
I'm not trying to muddy the water.
We're not muddying the water. We're not muddying the water. But I'm saying that when you start, for one thing, how you start off, 9 times out of 10, that's how you're going to finish. So.
You think so?
Yes. If you allow certain things in the beginning of a relationship and you know that you're not okay with it and you still let it go on, and then years down the line, all of a sudden it changed, that's where the problem comes in. They should have already had this foundation established. They not in a relationship, and if they are in a relationship, it's not a stable relationship because they are not on the same page. If they were on the same page, she wouldn't be out there embarrassing him, and he wouldn't feel embarrassed about whatever her behavior is. They weren't on the same page.
Yeah, I could agree to that too.
She doesn't have respect for him, but I'm gonna say this last thing. I gotta go in this grocery store. I've been sitting out here for like 30 minutes. But look, the way you start off your relationship is not gonna be the way you finish it, because people grow in relationships. Change is gonna constantly happen. You're gonna come through a lot of different adversities in your relationship, and you're gonna see different sides of the person that you're with. And the true test of a couple that can last through those times is gonna be what they went through, what they overcame. So I can't say that you're gonna go in the same way that you're gonna leave it, because my dad and my mom been married for like 30-something years. They were hitting the club and doing all that whoop stuff, but when kids came in, they took away a lot of that stuff because they had to raise a family. Now the mission became something else. But if women, like I'll tell you, if ladies want to go out and do whatever the hell they want to do, by all means go and do it. Just please don't sit around and complain that guys don't want to commit to them, because there are always consequences to every action. So if you want to do what you want to do and you can't find a guy of the caliber that you want, that wants you, you're going to have to look at yourself. Because if you want to get a job at Google, but you ain't got the qualifications for Google, Google don't care who the hell you is, and just because you being yourself, they're not going to hire you. So I'm gonna just leave it with that.
All right, Jay. Well, I appreciate your intake and your perspective and giving us some food for thought.
Yeah,
it was needed. I needed to balance that masculine. I sit on my masculine side heavy sometimes. But thank you. Hey, pause.
Hey, look, y'all ladies have a good day.
You as well, and thank you for the conversation.
Bye, Jay.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all be
have
good.
Have a blessed one.
All right, now.
We got my brother Maybach in the building.
Salute, Maybach.
Salute, ladies. What's up, Foxy?
Family.
What's up? What's up?
Thank you. Yo, I'm gonna need Lotus to put some energy behind that voice.
Leave Lotus alone.
Okay, no 900, no 900, voices right now. You know what I mean? It's just what,
Lotus is
12:30.
looking for
But
her
peace and blessings, man. Peace and blessings. Salute to everybody. Salute to everyone in the chat as well. Yeah, like the brother was just saying, right? I agree with him. Last time I checked, real men, don't want someone showing off all their goods to the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Us men, yeah, we look at that and we're like, yeah, that's a quick snack. You know what I'm saying? But the covered up woman, the classy woman, is who I want to bring, home and meet the family and stuff like that. That's the era I grew up in anyways. Right. Females dressed classy and they still was looking sexy. It wasn't revealing. You know what I mean? And me, mental stimulation's always been number one for me anyways, over physical stimulation. You know what I mean? Because the mental stimulation lasts longer than the physical anyways. Well, at least, like I said, that's my opinion. That's how I always had it. You know what I mean? First, stimulate my brain, and then everything else will fall in place. But, that's all I had to say. And I think the baby father wasn't wrong for the comment. And someone made a point about it. And I think I sent you the clip where they reversed the roles. They said, what if it was a woman singer that was up there and her baby daddy was there?
Sade, I was like, I can't be mad at all that. It's Sade. But
yeah, that's why I say, because the average man, he see Holly Berry, he gonna run and he get a chance to get up on Holly Berry and twerk on Holly Berry, he gonna do it.
Correct.
We got to stop the capping.
Correct. See, and this is something else too that was pointed out to me when I watched the video again. I analyzed it. She was acting like, she's a regular person and he's the star. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be on the same level as him. I get it, it's Usher. But listen, like, let's not, I don't know, man. There's a way, a female I dated told me something that I did out in public. Now, I didn't realize it, and I don't think I did that, but it made her feel uncomfortable, basically. She's like, oh, I've been around men who are womanizer, and when they make that mistake, they apologize, and you just was doing it. Now, I apologize to the female, but I'm like, yo, I don't recall me doing that. I've never, lusted over no women before. You know what I'm saying? Even when I didn't get none at the beginning, I never lusted. So I was like, well, I apologize. You get what I'm saying? So the point I'm making is that I went out with this woman and I think I was eyeing another woman a little too much. So she made a point about it. She's like, yo, I've been out with multiple guys. Sometimes when they do it, they catch themselves. You just kept on doing it. I don't recall that I was staring like that. I think I looked, but that's her explaining to me.
You're a Libra.
But I don't think these are things.
No, but listen, I never said.
I'm like, I think different. I guess I'm different. But I don't have a problem with these things. Like,
so Cosmology Bay wants to know, maybe you might know this, Lotus. How long have they been together?
Who?
Keke and her boyfriend.
A year?
A couple of years? Yeah, no more than a couple of years, I believe.
So like 2 years, let's say.
Yeah, that's
the first year or the first 6 months, it's all honeymoons, sweets and stuff. By the end of that year, you're like, I don't know. And then the second year is like, okay, you're now seeing the quirks about this person. And then you got a baby now in this, and the baby's 5 months old. I don't think they really know each other per se. Again, this is highly weird and industry type people. So their setting is totally different. He might be a little more low key than she is. Obviously, she's, propelled up there. Everybody knows who Keke is. So, even on an average relationship, me just trying to psychoanalysis it is that, they haven't been together long enough. Plus they're young. And now they're in a genre or arena of social media. So things are going to be put on social media now. And that's the way people communicate. Maybach and I are the same age. We're in our golden era right now where things were a little different. We could get away with a little bit more. Not all of us had camcorders out. Not all of us had disposable cameras snapshotting away. So we didn't really we can get away with some things, right? So if I wanted to wear a low outfit the way Keke did, I wouldn't be on Front Street because nobody really knew the wiser. And I've wore, not to that extent of what Keke had on, but I've worn little tight dresses, but I'm in a club, right? And I'm dancing, and that's where it's at. And then that's that. We have a generation of women now that, I want to say the Generation X kind of failed this, and not even so much failed because it's not even their fault. We were raised to be mothers and caregivers before our time. I snapshotted this quote that Gen X had to be 30 years old at the age of 10. So you're being pushed into an adult situation because your parents are like, you got to watch these kids, you got to pick them up from school, you got to be there, right? Because they had to work, and so now they have the children of their own, and they're like, listen, I don't want to have any other kids, I don't want no more, I'm trying to live my best life now. So you do have some young grandmothers who are kind of out there in the streets and stuff, but it's use your discretion. You know, if you're going on 50 years old, you cannot dress like Keke, right? And if you're doing it, kudos to you. It's just a level of, there's layers to it. No one size fits all in this situation. I'm not trying to shame her, but we have to realize that there's more of this type of look going on than there was of a, let's say, Queen Latifah, an MC Light, a Moni Love, right? Where they were dressed, you know, conservatively, coming out and rapping. And the genre took off to another level where now you got a Little Kim and the Nicki Minaj's, but that's the industry doing that. Because these girls came out all on one accord with not showing their bodies off. We were brought into an area or a time frame where you didn't go outside showing your stuff off, even though we had Daisy Dukes and things of that nature. But it's just a different time, and I don't want to sound hypocritical, because people are like, oh, but the grandmothers was out there doing that stuff, and yeah, they were, but there was a time and a place. And just like JBJ said, his parents got married, they've been married for years. When they had children, that's it, that's your priority, and then you can have fun. And that, my grandparents did the same thing. They cut a lot. My grandmother said they sacrificed a lot of hang time with their best friends when my grandmother got pregnant and had her children. My grandfather and her knuckled down, and it was about the kids. And then they would have like picnics and do things family oriented. Sometimes they'd have their friends come over and they'll have like a, adult night and things of that nature, but they weren't out there like that. So it's like, where do you draw the line in the sand? When do you start buckling down and saying, you know what, I have to, put certain things aside? And when do you become morally conductive and realizing that you are setting a stage for other young ladies to look at and emulate? Go ahead, Lotus.
I don't know. I guess I look at it differently. And I had my mom and my dad in the household up until I was 19, 20 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was a virgin until I was 19 or 20 years old. I didn't start having children. I had my first child when I was 30.
Okay.
So I can understand. For one thing, Keke Palmer had self-esteem issues for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Now, because she had real bad acne, so it bothered her and her appearance. So now that, yes, we know her as a Disney star or Aquila and the Bee and things like that, she was a child then. but she's sort of becoming a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's finding herself. He should not shame her for trying to find herself. Yes, she is a mother. That does not define what she wears outside, does not define who she is as a mother. And he is wrong for saying that. Yes, he may be home with the child, but that is his child just as well as it's her child. Now, okay, they should have established those boundaries. That's when we make mistakes. We don't establish boundaries in relationships to let our partners know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. There is a bigger issue in the situation. I don't think that the bottom line was her dressing the way she dressed and her dancing on Usher. I don't think that was the issue. I just think that that was the issue. That's what he chose the argument to be about at that particular point in time. But I don't think they together like that. And if they are, they aren't going to be together long. And it's also been said that he's been in people DMs too. So what's good for
Oh
the
yeah.
goose
So
is good
Cosmology
for the
Bay,
gander.
yeah, Cosmology Bay just posted. It's been some tension in the relationship. She felt he was getting too close to some of the clients as a fitness studio. Okay. So, we're going to do this tit for tat and things of this nature. Um,
Childish. Yeah.
I didn't take it that they were together because I'm like, well, who would write this on social media? And then I'm like, and my daughter's speaking like how you're speaking, Lotus, my youngest, and she's, like, Ma, that shouldn't be a problem. Like, why should he even say anything? And then I'm like, well, it's true. Like, I saw his side of the story, and then I'm like, well, maybe he's, jealous. But now the ball starts to unravel, and we see that all is not what it appears to be. But then this again goes to the fact of the matter that we have these people put in this limelight that are, for better lack of words, fake, right? Their reality is not our reality,
Mhm.
but our reality is more real than theirs. But we're gonna look at them like, wow, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to aspire to. Not so much about the cheating and all that stuff, but just that type of the perception that they're putting out to people. And so you have a lot of young people influenced by what they see, i.e. movies, i.e. shows, i.e. social media. Okay, so we're going to move a little bit away from Keke and go into Janelle Monae. Now, here's a woman who's older, right? I don't think she has any children. She says she's pansexual. And she goes and shows her boob literally on purpose to the Essence Festival while she's performing and promoting her album Topless. Again, why?
Artistry.
Artistry.
The name of it is what did you say? Topless is the
Topless.
name of her album. Topless, the booby album.
Right, right. No, I get it. I get it. But the thing, so she's getting backlash too, because it's like, come on now.
But
I think certain people, and as hypocritical as men can be, they're very exterior. So they're going to look at everything and anything that passes by them. That's appeasing to the eyes. But for the most part, they're not going to take home somebody that just did that. I'm talking about on some make this a relationship. They're going to probably just have the one night stand because that looked nice and appeasing, and that's what they're doing, and that's it. But there are men like JVJ, and as I was listening to yesterday, Crank, that are like, yo, what's going on out here with these women? What's going on with you women? Like, we're trying to figure it out, because one minute you talking about you need a strong man and you need the provider, and then the next minute you talking about, you out here having girls hot summer and F us, and you out here trying to freak off. There's this contradictory. So we can't even really be mad with the men because they're getting mixed signals too.
that's that but that's perception. It's what they want us to see. They want us to think that that's the way these behaviors are all behaviors of all women or the majority of women. That's why I have a problem with, and that is not the case. This is what they want us to see, but it's not a reality of what really goes on. And we have to teach our children that this is
Right.
not this is not reality. That's
Right.
why it doesn't, I guess that's why it doesn't bother me, because that's not my reality.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's the
that's
same here. That's not my reality as well.
yeah.
But it is a reality in the grand scheme of things when we're looking at what our children are looking at, what other people are seeing. Like we're involved in this fictional reality. It doesn't sway us on a day-to-day or individual to individual circumstance, but on the collective it is. And you have people out here that are very persuaded by the false sense of that reality. And
That's true.
it has trickled over into where it's like, damn, what the hell, like it has. I mean, you got elders like Professor Griff, like, yo, like there. When does this end? When is there a limit? Because even though that's not me and you, Lotus, it's a majority of women out here that are doing some. I mean, like, and his wife, Professor Griff, case in point, Professor Griff's wife, Soleil, she has East Indian heritage in her background. So she's very Hindu garbed and stuff like that. She does body tantas, where she's
Tantra
moving, where she's moving accordingly to the music,
and the beat.
but she's doing it in ceremonial situations. Listen, she was married to Genuine, so she knows all about
Okay,
the
I thought
grinding.
that's who you was talking about. I was yeah, okay.
She was married to Genuine, so you talking about a man who's bumping and grinding on everything. She had to put up with that. She got a Professor Griff in her life now. So, but that doesn't take away from her sexuality. That doesn't take away from her being feminine. That doesn't take away from her womanhood. But she still is like, all right, my husband is my extension. And what I do, if I'm out here doing X, Y, and Z, is going to get back. So let me not be a fool. Let me be respectful for my union. And there's a time and a place for everything. So, I don't know. We got made back in the
And
building.
and I get that. I get that.
Hmm. So but we don't see that often. We don't see that type of relationship. What we're seeing is the Keke and the Jesse and the Nicki Minaj and her baby daddy. We're seeing the toxicity in relationships that is mainstream, and so people, even though it's not a reality in the spectrum of things, there's more toxicity being portrayed than there is positivity, where there's harmonious, where there's a balance, where there's a Professor Griffin or Soleil, that you have the divine feminine and masculine that can operate in the same field together. We don't see that. You
And
and I are doing that on a smaller level, Lotus. We're doing that behind, you know what I mean? But it's just us. There's a small group of us that are like that, but we're being outnumbered and being pushed with a city girl type mentality.
don't I don't feel that way, because we have to
Okay.
also, on the spiritual side, this is the year of the seven. So we know that all those things we were, and what is it? The era of Aquarius. Now we
Right.
know that we just coming out of the era of Pisces, so these things were hidden. These things are
Mm-hmm.
coming to the surface now because they need to be changed. But how can we change them if we don't know what needs to be changed? So the
Mm.
Babylon energy has to be shown
Mm.
in order to change it. So the next generation who don't feel, who don't agree with this Babylon energy, they can change and they can become role models. But if the how do you know what needs to be changed if it's not in front of our face? It's just this stuff has always gone on. It's just now that there are more people waking up to what's going on, so that it can be changed, so that the vibration can be raised. Looking at it from a spiritual standpoint.
Okay, I could agree with that. It needs to be shown. Yep.
Because, like, just think of, and I'm not going to speak on it, I'm just saying, but just think of all the things that have come out during this era that we always knew were going on, but nobody said anything about it. It's much more than the dressing that is the problem. The dressing, the outfits, the job. It's not it's a bigger issue. Why are these people like this? Why are the Disney stars turning like this all of a sudden?
Right.
We need to look at that. That's the problem.
So it would be tentacles of the problem, because the bigger problem, these little things are tentacles of that problem.
This is just a distraction from the bigger issue.
Well, yeah,
like I said with him, that's a small thing that y'all could have handled behind the scene. You didn't like what she had on, and you didn't like how she was gyrating, but you brought attention to it by saying something. If you don't want to things only have the amount of power that you give it. And I say this coming from a state who had the Confederate flag up for years. And I never cared about it. They can keep it up. They can wipe it behind with it. All I care, it doesn't matter. I don't give it that much power. We have to stop giving these people this power and this energy. Stop feeding into it. If they want to dress like that, that's their problem. That's rich people problems. That's celebrity problems. Right. We got our own problems going on that we need to solve. We need to be talking about healing ourselves so that we can build better relationships.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Go ahead, Maybach.
Can I ask y'all a question? Can you hear me? Okay. Now, this is my thing, right? I done heard people like my mom. Huh? Okay. So I done heard people like my mom's who's in their 80s, people in their 70s and 60s say, when I step out and my husband's not with me, I'm representing us as a whole, and vice versa. I done heard men who are married said, when I step out, whether it's by themselves or with their male friends, they also still representing their other half. So my thing is this, maybe, because I know your parents bought you some clothes to wear to school. It wasn't cool. So you wore it out the house. But the minute that you got to your homegirl's house or your homeboy's crib, you switched into the clothes that is cool. But your parents never know that you're switching your clothes. So maybe he didn't see Keke dressed the way she dressed when she stepped out the house. Maybe he had no idea that that's what she's wearing. Like, come on, your cheeks are out. And I ain't talking about your cheeks on your face. Her cheeks was out. Yeah, her cheeks was out. Walks over when she turned around to give Usher a whole 360 view. Why are you doing that? So, like, this is what I'm saying. Maybe some people just need to watch the videos from multiple angles and watch it multiple times. Don't watch Usher, watch how she's behaving. She's behaving like a groupie, like a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, man, I live in Boston. I got friends that work at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play. I got friends that work at TD Garden where the Celtics play at. I done been around these people. I never kissed butt. I never, before Tom Brady retired as a Patriot, well, before he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, every year the Patriots has an open practice to the public. I done seen grown men and women trample little kids running up to get Tom Brady's autograph. These are grown-ups running up. Oh, Tom Brady. I go there. I bring my kids. My kids got an autograph. You know what I'm saying? My kids got it. I don't really care. So the point I'm trying to make is I never look at another human being as me being beneath them just because they living in Hollywood or they make 30 million a movie or whatever. We all still just human beings. Black, white, yellow, green, purple, it don't matter. Alien, you want to throw that. Whether women is from Venus, men are from Mars, this one's from Pluto, that one is from, Jupiter. It don't matter. We all still one race, and that's the human race. But the point I'm just trying to make is how people lust over people. Like I said, back to what I was trying to say earlier, I lost reception because where I was driving. What I was trying to say is that like me, when I go on IG and I see these women revealing all of their body, I don't look at that female's picture and say, oh my God, I need to bring her to the next family function to meet grandma and moms and the rest of the, family. That's somebody that I don't, you know what I mean? Like I said, I want to play and have a quick night with. That's not somebody that I'm looking at saying, oh yeah, that's going to be maybe my future wife. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm different. My mind, my mental is different. So I look for a woman who has morals, standards, respect, and all of that. Those are the things that attract me. Again, body parts is cool and all, but what else comes with that? You know what I mean? It's like you're driving a Mercedes, but the engine sucks,
Maybach, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for you. Say for instance, your children's mother does like on a scale, almost like a scale of Keke Palmer. How would you handle that? I mean, yes, we know we would handle that behind the scenes, but how would you handle that?
Mm-hmm. Well, first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? She already knows like certain attires, you know what I mean? We're not together, but I get the point. If we were together, she knows certain attires I don't agree with her wearing. You get what I'm saying? So she automatically has that respect for herself. It all starts with herself first. You understand what I'm saying? And then it's like, okay, I'm with somebody, so I can't dress a certain way anymore. That's why I said it begins and starts with that individual. You understand what I'm saying? I understand, like, if I meet you wearing, the sexy attire and all this other stuff, I can't try to change the way you dress. I get that. But once, like he said, you're a wife and you're a mother, you get your mind frame is supposed to change. Just like my mind frame changed once I had children. You know what I mean? And nothing to gain. Now, if I didn't have kids, that might have been, I probably still would have been doing what I was doing in the streets. But I'm saying once I had kids, I didn't need nobody to tell me, okay, you can't be doing this like you used to. You can't be doing that. That's automatic. You understand what I'm saying? The way I used to speak, I know I can't speak like that around my kids. You get what I'm saying? So it all starts and ends with the individual. The two, they have self-respect, they have morals, they have integrity. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Those are the people that I'm around anyways. Like what somebody does outside of that, that's what they do outside of that. I'm just talking about my circle of my conference. You know what I'm saying? Of the people that's around me. We all positive. You know what I'm saying? So if you're chilling with people like that, we already know what's going to happen. But again, I come from a different era where a lot of women covered up and they still looked good. So she can wear the baggiest sweatpants, sweatsuit. I was always told things should be left to the imagination. You know what I mean? It's like me meeting somebody yesterday and today I already slept. That's the next wifey. No. I'm not thinking like that. I'm like, oh, okay, I smashed it. And now I don't have respect for different folks. You know what I'm saying? That's why we shouldn't be telling other people what to do. Because what works for me may never work for you and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I can give my suggestions. I can give an opinion. I can give advice. But a lot of us tell other people what they should do. Oh, don't stir the pot. No, that's what works for you. The person want to stare at the pot to the left. That's what works for them. What Lotus said, it's the truth. Right. You know, this what happened with Keke, thing. I know we're having a topic about it, but it shouldn't affect us. Like she said, these people's payroll, that's rich people problems. Multi-millionaire told me he bought a Rolls Royce because his other multi-millionaire friends had a Rolls Royce. He said he drove it a couple of times or a few times. Got a 1999 Toyota Camry still in his driveway to keep him grounded. But he just bought the Rolls Royce just to see what his friends was talking about, to have an idea, but it didn't work for him. So he's like, I sold it. You know what I'm saying? So there's different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? But my main thing was with, when I sent you the link, I was on that dude's platform and he was doing the other side of it. Because a lot of women was like, oh, women, they was just bashing the baby father. They was more mad at him instead of respecting the message. Because I looked at the whole message from top to bottom. It wasn't like, and that's another thing that pissed me off. Oh, when did they get married? Because in his tweet, he said, you're a wife and a mom. Last time I checked, y'all ain't married. How do people know they're not married? People think everything is documented or it's on Google. A lot of people get married secretly, and you find out about it after the fact. You get what I'm saying? So it was like they was too focused on him saying you're a wife and a mom and this and that. It's like yo, listen, man. This is what I'm saying. Society is controlling our community. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the Kardashians, why did it take for that family to start doing it? Now it's like, oh yeah, big butts is in. You should start doing it. Now you got people dying for booty injections. Well, but you remember?
Yeah.
What was that slave? I don't know if it's true, but there was a woman who had
there's a delay with the service.
He's probably losing signal where he at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm hearing it.
Okay.
I think it's because I got my other phone.
Okay. So with Kardashians, we're talking about Kardashians. Sean's in the building. Salute. Just showing some compassion, some passion. What he said. Sean says, just passing to drop some love on a happy Saturday. Thank you. Kardashians, you listen, the girl came famous by having a sex tape. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, we know that's how Hollywood gets down. It's sex sells. What's going on with them is all about that. That is the agenda that's being pushed and pumped out. So that, like Lotus said, there's a higher agenda behind the scenes that they want us to be like, oh, that's nothing. Everything's going to be so passe and blasé that when they start really showing you what's going on behind the curtains, you're not going to be in an uproar about it because you're going to be like, oh, okay. No, you got to draw the line somewhere. So yeah, we need to be in an uproar and an outrage with certain things that are like this situation. The people that are on this panel, it doesn't affect us one way or another. But on a grand scheme of things, it is because they have an agenda. And when I say the powers that shouldn't be, have this agenda. They're using and manipulating the energy that we are giving out and harnessing that for something else to go down the pipeline.
Correct.
So there you have the Babylon energy that's coming through. We know that these people be doing satanic rituals and things of that nature. And they'll use something as innocent as a Keke to kickstart something. All right. We know that these award shows and the Essence Festival and all that good stuff, any type of those type of arenas, there's some type of ritual that goes on behind that's planted in front of you, but you won't think anything the wiser because you think it's artistic. We think it's cute. We think that's fun. We think that's dope. I'm there. My girlfriend sent me a clip for BET, and I don't watch it, but I was like, let me go see. Yeah, and I couldn't even watch the whole thing. I watched the Takeoff, Offset, and Quavo contribution, right? Whatever, you know. So Takeoff and not Take.
That wasn't a tribute. That wasn't a tribute.
I know, Maybach. I know. What I'm saying is that they're going to present that to us. They're going to present that to us as a tribute. But you see behind the scenes, those that can see, there's a circle of fire, right? They got the guy, Quavo, Takeoff behind them. It's a lot of stuff that they're doing. So if we don't try to nip certain things in the bud and we let these people keep controlling the narrative, they're going to push a lot of stuff down our throat and say accept it. And we're going. Some of us are going to fall and go through and run with it. Like they're going to really start letting us see that certain things that they shouldn't be doing, that's okay. This one woman, for the Gay Pride celebration, she went into Target and saw onesies that had slogans and stuff regarding sexuality. What does that have to? Why is that on a newborn? She stopped it with a tweet. So I'm saying to say this is that even though it doesn't affect us on a day-to-day, on the grand scheme of things, it is because they're pushing.
Oh, I can show you that. I can show it to you right now. I can show you the proof right now. I bought a shirt.
Oh. Big Cat says he misses Takeoff's music. I watched it. I was listening to the Bad and Bougie. I was like, oh, hey,
I don't watch. I don't watch.
And that had nothing to do with him.
I don't even look at now.
They perform a song. They perform a song that he's not even on.
Maybach, come, log out and come back in because you're like seconds delayed from us.
I apologize. Go ahead.
No problem. Go ahead, Lotus.
Yes.
I don't really watch stuff like this.
Okay, gotcha.
I am on social media. I have a Facebook, I have an IG, and I am on YouTube. But I don't watch stuff like BET and things like that. I just started back watching scary movies on TV, so I'm always on YouTube. That's why I say I don't know these things that be going on. That's why I say like the outfit it didn't, and I had to go back just to make sure to see, but she had on a bodysuit. Nikki is dressed way less than that. She had on a bodysuit under it. So that's why I say it's which I know if we look at it, we look at it as she's showing her body, but I just don't want it to be a thing where we blur the lines, and not saying us, but in general, that the lines are blurred to think that because of the way that a female or anybody dresses, that means that they do not respect themselves because of how they dress or how they portray themselves. Because I can dress, and I do dress like that. That's why I'm stressing the point. But I am celibate. You would never know that I'm celibate by the way that I dress. But someone else's perception, when they look at me and see what I have on, they think that I'm out here doing 90 Go North. But that's not the case.
Right. I hear you.
That's
You're right.
why I said I don't want people to get that, because that is a problem as well. People have a perception that because a female dresses a certain way, that makes her the H word or the W word, and that's not the
Right.
case.
Well, listen, my daughter, my youngest, would definitely be in agreement with you. She even said, "Mom, listen, Rihanna dresses like that and she dresses like that with ASAP."
Yeah,
But
and I'm also a bigger girl, so
right, so you can't
it's
really
not going.
hide behind. No, I get
I'm
it.
not going to be able to hide anything.
Right, right, right,
If
right.
I put on a dress that's to my knees, literally in the back, it's gonna be
Right.
farther up than what it is in the front because of my hips and my backside.
And I've spoken about this before, that there's some women that can't help that. They can
Yeah,
wear something that's modestly, dressed or casually dressed, and they can't help it because of the way their body is shaped.
yeah,
Understood. Understood. Um, and but on the flip side to it is that uh you do have this body, like say a Cardi B, who, well, that's made up, manufactured now at this point. But she's, like, she's case in point. She dresses crazy and she has kids. Now she's showing you a somewhat softer side because she has children. She has a daughter that's old enough now that can really see. She said it on YouTube. There's a YouTube short. The daughter was listening to the music. She said, "Mommy, is that you? Are you Cardi B?" And she said, and Cardi B didn't really answer her right away. And she said, "Yeah, that's me." She said, "Oh, so that lets you know she don't want her own daughter listening to this stuff." Most of these people that are in the industry, even the people who told you to go take the Jabberwocking, they weren't taking it. Right? So again, these are these agendas that these people put out. They wouldn't even want to do that themselves, but they're going to make money off of being a fool, so you can go ahead and subscribe to that shit.
yeah.
Right? So, again, they're not showing us the divine feminine type energy. Now, India Irie clapped back at Janelle Monae about that whole showing her boobs. And India Irie, she says, "I'm not the most prettiest. I'm dark skinned. My hair is, natted. I don't have this, that, and the third, right? But I still love myself." And she's never shown like a Lauryn Hill, a Queen Latifah back in the day. Now, MC Light's dressing in leotards and whatnot. She done conformed, and she's over. She's over her
Leotard
40s.
is not nothing easy to wear because it's gonna cut your pocketbook up. So your booty cheeks is gonna be out in a leotard.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that we don't have that type of energy or divine balance where, like I said, like a Lauryn Hill and Indy Irie, where these women are not showing you everything, but they could still be beautiful. And because they didn't show their sexuality off, they're not getting that much airplay. And see, that's where we're losing out at, Lotus. And that's why I was trying to say, like, we're only getting one side of it now. And they're giving us this whole Babylon type shit. They took off our Lauryn Hills. What'd they do to her? She started speaking all this intellect. They gave her, she wasn't paying taxes and sent her behind into jail. That's all by design.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna feed us now with Cardi B. You're gonna feed us with Nicki Minaj. You're gonna feed us with that type of symbolism. We have no balance from that. We don't see an opposite. The females, we don't see the opposite of that. We see more of them, that type of prototype, than we do a Lauryn Hill. And that's
why you think.
Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, why you think they attack our communities again, right? I said this on your show before. I don't hear clear women doing videos talking about, "I'm independent, I don't need a man." You don't hear that from the clear white woman. They're not doing that in other nationalities. In other communities. They only attack our community because we still got a bunch of sheeples I don't know what's wrong with them. I guess they still sleep, whatever the case may be. And it's just like, yo, we in the Aquarius times right now, the awakening, where we should be seeing things and seeing what it really is. Like, oh, like I said, this Keke stuff, the stuff with the Trump, those were all distractions, especially with the Trump stuff. While Trump was doing what he was doing, they was blasting it all over the news. Russia got up with China, and they made China's yen or whatever, yuan, however you pronounce their money, is the number one currency now. So this is the whole thing. See, people like me, I'm not watching the Trump stuff because I already know it's BS. The man's not going to get indicted. He's not going to do no time. But if we want to talk about his case, what about Hillary?
Well, he's not going to get indicted because he's a sovereign, right? We discussed that about Trump. Trump told us he's a businessman, not a politician. There's certain things that he knows. Listen, Trump is playing the fool, but he's no fool.
No,
correct.
But I don't really want to get into that segment, Maybach, just because it's it's a whole nother.
No, I know. I was just saying, like, as far as the distractions, when the real stuff is going on.
Right.
Yeah,
No, absolutely. And Lotus said the same thing. She said these are distractions.
Correct.
However, the distractions are for what's coming down the pipeline, right? And they're going to make us okay. They're going to have people being like, oh, that's okay that woman showed her boobs out to thousands of people. Oh, that's okay that, and everything's going to be, that's okay. And when stuff starts really coming down the line against our children, that's where you want to draw the line at. This woman, I'm going to read to y'all again really quickly. Those who are coming through, salute. We're talking about what's been happening with Keke Palmer and her child's father, clap backing on the fact that she was wearing a dress that was very provocative. She's a new mom, and she was, dancing off with Usher. She was fanning out, right? I read some scriptures earlier in regards to how morally sound women should be, how it was. I think we're moving away because there's a lot of people that are breaking away from that Piscean, it's no more religion. It's not about religion, but we need to hold fast to those morals, those little gems that we got in Sunday school that you had heard from, when you did Shabbat and you was in temple and things of that nature. We have to hold some of that to heart, because we're losing it in the battle with these beasts out here that are trying to corrupt everything and anyone. Guess what? Your dogs and your cats are not off limits because in certain parts of this world, that's okay to be doing certain things nefariously with animals.
In this world,
so we need to yeah. So hold on, I'm going to read really quickly. This woman, I had chimed in on a comment on Instagram yesterday because Indy Irie was not having it, and this woman kind of justified why another Black woman came out in defense of Indy Irie. So this woman says, folks who quote ancestors and don't know anything about traditional dance can sit down. Respectfully, BS is at its finest. She's saying that it's okay because this woman was saying, y'all twerking your behinds across the stage, which then you want a man to come and hit that. Right? So this woman was giving her opinion and stating how she felt in regards to the Janelle Monae. So I responded back and said, hold on a second. Where did I say? I said to her, but it's done in ceremonial settings, not on stage for fun and attention. Regarding the ancestors, she was trying to say this woman's bringing up the ancestors, and the woman that I responded to, she says, oh, but you don't know anything about traditional dance and can sit down. Listen, first of all, if you want to quote back to Africa, if that's what you're looking at, there's still women that do those type of dances. But guess what? It's in a ritual. It's in a ceremonial setting. They're not doing this while they're cooking dinner for their families. All right. And furthermore, Babylon hasn't reached them like that in certain areas in different countries of Africa. I'm going to continue. I said, right, it doesn't, but it's done in ceremonial settings, not on stage for fun and attention. She gives me a whole paragraph back in a response and says, So now we're policing dance, one of the most fun, interactive, celebratory, healing and actions on the planet. I'm not policing dancing. I'm saying though, but you there, yeah, maybe we need to, because there's a time and a place for everything. Anyway, she continues and says, what most people of color have at least one story of their parents' family. Show the people to dance, baby. Right? You'll have your that auntie that says, "Oh, show us that new dance you was doing." That's what she's referring to. Then she says, "Babies naturally twerk." What did I just say? The agenda is what? The distractions are what? Keke Palmer and them. But meanwhile, stuff is really going down with the babies and them, right? Babies naturally twerk. Why? She questions. Because it feels good. I've never got to ask a baby how they feel when they're dancing like that. You could tell that they're full of joy when they're hearing music, and seeing family members dancing, right? But why use the word twerk with the baby? All right, continue. They don't learn it from anywhere because it's innate. The woman in this video is a disgrace with the hate she has internalized, and she is now projecting onto other people. Her tone is dripping with vitriol. She's miserable. I wouldn't want her ass nowhere near me and anyone I know. Her energy is stank. In capital letters, exclamation marks. What say you guys?
Now, one part that she did say, I know what she's referring to, but I would not refer to it as twerking. And it is from a psychological term, but I can't remember, so I don't want to misquote anything. But I not saying she's right, but she has her facts mixed up. It is not twerking, but if we want to look at it that way, what she's saying is just like the suck reflex that a baby learns.
Right.
Also, how a baby self-soothes. A baby learns to self-soothe, and we have children, so we know how the baby, as the baby is laying down, and the baby is going to self-soothe, rock themselves
Right.
to sleep. Now, that
Right.
is something on a psychological level that you will have to do your research.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it's Freud or who, and I don't want to misquote it. That's why I'm gonna get off of that. But that does not justify us being going all over the places in Walmart and all out in public and just twerking.
Right.
Just because. Now, if you're at home and we go to parties and things like that, we know you get a little bit of alcohol in your whatever, or even if you just like to dance, you're going to be dancing. It should be a balance. That's what we need to teach our children and to teach the generation. It's about balance. You cannot just be out here just twerking everywhere. No, that's not right, because we do have children who look up to us, even though we don't want to be necessarily, as in the stars, they don't necessarily want to be called a role model, but we know that they are on stage, so they are looked at as role models. But we also have to also ask ourselves, why are we allowing these people to raise our children and allow them to think that that's the way that they are supposed to be, that this is okay? Our children are always going to be presented with these things in society and in life. It's our responsibilities as parents and the elders to teach them how to discern
Right.
what's real and what's not real.
And Lotus, there's nothing wrong with.
Everybody has their own standards. What we see as disrespectful may not necessarily be disrespectful. I found it disrespectful that my grandparents had us listening to songs like Stand Up in It. And had us singing songs like Stand Up in It. I find that disrespectful.
when you find out the true meaning of the songs, you know what I mean? You're like, hold on, I was singing that at 5 years old?
So this is like this stuff has been going on. It's just out there now because we have cameras and phones
Mm-hmm.
to take pictures
Mm-hmm.
of it. So it's going to be emphasized more. But our
Correct.
parents have been doing the same behaviors. How you think they stayed together with their husbands and wives for 30 years?
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't there for nothing. Even though they did have their nightgowns on, but all the way down to their feet. But we got to think about if they're talking about standing up in it and things like that. It's just now we're just open with it. We're not using analogies. They're just saying it. They're not ashamed. They're not ashamed to say it.
But there
And
was a
I,
balance though. There was a balance though back then. Go ahead.
yeah, it was a balance, but we did not, how to say it, we don't know what they were doing. We don't have cameras. We didn't have cameras back then, so we didn't know. We can only go by what they told us that they
Correct.
did. I'm pretty sure they did more, and I'm gonna keep saying that song because that is just ridiculous. If they talking
But
about
but
standing
but
up in it,
but let me ask you a question. Did you ever saw your mama shaking her ass though?
yes, I did at our parties.
I
We
mean,
all
was
shook.
it? Hold on. Was it? Pardon self. Was it like twerking, or was she doing
Yes,
it in a classic? Huh?
we were my parents were twerking. We were
Okay,
all
but
twerking.
that was a fun time. But Lotus, this is what I'm saying though. It was a fun time. It was the time for your moms and y'all to be twerking at that particular time. Like you said, mama wasn't going around everywhere twerking her ass.
I have to beg to differ, but that's a whole nother.
Well, I don't know.
That's
I'm
a
gonna say
whole.
this. The only time, listen, and going back to what you said earlier, listen.
I'm just
I know
playing,
the
y'all.
men in the chat can agree to this. I have no problem whether it's Foxy, y'all want to twerk. Go ahead and twerk. I'm not gonna look at you no different. Now, if you twerking everywhere and anywhere, then there might be a problem. I might have to tell one of y'all to sit your asses down real quick. You know what I'm saying? But listen,
Yeah,
like I
right,
said, all the men that's in the chat that's listening, even the bush babies that's in the bushes watching, the bushwhackers that's watching, they all can agree. And I'm talking about the men. We love the twerking. We ain't gonna never tell you to stop. Okay? And like going back to what you said, Lotus, like you said, you're super thick, and I don't mean that in no disrespect, meaning that whatever you wear is going to show off your assets, but you're still covered up. You're not grabbing a pair of old jeans and cutting them up to Daisy Dukes and the bottom of your cheeks hanging out.
I have.
All right. Well, you're not doing that now as a grown woman, and I know. I don't even got to ask you. I know you're not doing that as a grown woman. Let me give you an example. I went to Walmart the other day. You know, we got the heat stroke from the south up here, right? And
Oh
up
yeah.
north. Yep. So it's like 90, feels like 90, 100, whatever for the last 3 days, right? So I go to Walmart, and this is the problem that I have, and it's only the clear folks that do it. And this is the point I make because I know y'all see it in y'all states. A little girl, she must have not been no more than 7 years old, got some Daisy Dukes cut up, and her mother's standing in line with her. Now I'm behind these grown ass men. They look elderly men to me. They was not staring at the mother. They were staring at the little girl in her body in them little shorts. And I wanted to say something, but I said, nah, maybe this is not for me. You know what I mean? But I wanted to say something to the men like, wow, why don't y'all pull your cameras out and snap a picture to make the little girl alert and the mother alert of these men that's standing behind them, because I'm standing literally behind the men. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you got this country that want to obviously say, you know, men that are doing that is normal. They trying to normal everything that is we was taught that was bad. They're saying is good nowadays.
Right.
And they're basically saying we got to accept it. No, I don't have to. Just like I told my my kids' teachers, if God forbid, if my son wants to act like a girl, you mean to tell me you're not going to tell me and their moms? I heard in California, they actually give students pills without the parents' consent. That's what they doing. So going back to what you said when you said, oh, they're attacking our, listen, that alphabet letter community, to me, it wasn't passed for the adults. They passed that law for the adults to do whatever and run rampant in the streets, but really it's to attack the kids. Going back to what Foxy said, I done seen it. I could put my camera on right now and show you a t-shirt that I bought at Walmart. I never paid attention until I brought it home and I put it on my daughter. It has a rainbow over it, and underneath the rainbow it says optimism. Why are you doing that? You're attacking these kids at toddlers? Toddlers. I still have the t-shirt. She's never going to wear it. She's not going to wear it. But this is what I'm saying, where it's in Target, it's in Walmart, they attacking the children. And we can't do nothing when, like, you homeschool your children. So that's good. That's great. You control everything. I don't have that full control. When they out of my hands and I drop them off at school, it's the teachers in the school that's got them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I wish I went back to the homeschooling, because I did that during 2020. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, I had to get back on my 9 to 5. That's why I'm not homeschooling my kids right now. But I was doing that. But you're right, though. We I don't know. All we could do is the like-minded people can band together and do something about it. Because what's the saying? One man can start a revolution, but it takes masses to keep it going.
So
that's
22 Romans, 2 lives. Remember that? Yeah. It was the shake what your mama gave you, and we were doing that again, but we were doing it in parties, right? Again, time and a place. Now we're seeing it spill over. Lotus, there might be the exception to the rule in that game with your family and stuff like that, but for the majority, again, because we're talking about the mass majority, it's spilling over into where are we drawing the line from when it's a party to you out in the street and you got to just stop and start doing all that. As I mentioned before and earlier, there was a viral video going around with about maybe 3 or 4 Black women that went to Ghana. And at first, the way the camera pans out, it looks like they're just on top of like a abandoned building or whatever. But then these chicks start getting down to the knees and start shaking their rump and talking about to the ancestors. They were on top of the fort that the Africans were enslaved and taken out from over there to bring over to the Americas. And these chicks was talking about some for the ancestors. Which ones? The colonizers? Because that's what they like.
The entertainment.
So now it's just become buffoonery. It's not a time and a place. You're not doing that at Uncle Luke's parties. You're not doing that, in the club. You're out here on an everyday type thing, and it's almost like you can't help yourself, right? And then they get loudmouthed, and they don't want to hear. They get mouthy. They don't want to hear their man. They don't. Oh, you can't control me. You not listen. There was only one man that could tell me something, and that was my father. And I'm 47 years old, and my father still could tell me shit, and I'll be having to bow down, right? But if my husband says something that's disagreeable, I have to take that into consideration. But he knows I'm still my own person, just as he is his own person. But when you're a unit, you move as a unit. You can't do certain things out here recklessly, and shit's gonna spill over. Now with Keke and her boyfriend, they may not be together the way we think they are, right? They could be just going through some things that they haven't been together long enough. They don't know each other long enough. They're in that Hollywood situation, and so she's living her little life right now. But she also has a little baby. I mean, it's a weird thing. I don't think he was really wrong per se to say the things that he said. It might be childish, but is somebody going to step up and say something, right? Because then you're going to have this backlash of the women like, oh, you can't tell me nothing. Women's ad-lib, women's feminist, blah, 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 blah. That shit is whack. It's whack. Because you're letting it get to your head so that no one could tell you nothing, but you'll rather hear it from another female, and this chick is not probably steering you right because she probably has no home training. So you're going to run amok out here thinking somebody's really on your team, and they're not. You'd rather get with somebody, and you want to get with the man that's going to guide you in the right way. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with opening up your Bible every now and then, or your Quran or your Torah, and getting some words of wisdom. We're losing focus because we want to burn religion down. And yes, we understand what religion construct is, but please don't lose sight of the wisdom, the words behind all that. And yeah, a man wrote it, but listen, let's not get into the nitpicking of stuff. Let's pick up the words of wisdom and use that, because we're losing sight of it. And we have children out here that are now like, yo, it's okay if they rocking rainbows and they doing X, Y, and Z. Free the land, beloved. No, because it's a detriment. And when, yes, we grew up with homosexual people and lesbians and gay men, but they weren't parading themselves around. You know where they paraded themselves? At the parade downtown in the village. They weren't walking through the blocks being fugazi or flamboyant. They weren't. They knew how to conduct themselves. And this is of the late 70s, 80s genre here in New York City, because this is baseland here with home of the sexuality, homophobes, not homosexuals, and San Francisco. San Francisco kicked it off back in the 60s, and then they came over here into New York City with that. That's why you got the stone wall. I know this. I love being down in the village. I love being in that area. It's free. Nobody's bothering you, but they know how to conduct themselves at the time. Now a little more really open. I don't give a because they got their own policy in place that nobody can affect them, right? But I'm saying in the different era that I'm coming from, the homosexuals were not flamboyant in your face about their sexuality, but you knew that this person was different from your mom and your dad. And they didn't display their affection with the partner, but you knew that was their partner. So where do we draw the line with discreetness? Where do we draw the line with reserving yourself and being moral? You know there's children around. You know that shit ain't all correct. And I'm not trying to even heterosexual couples. You know you shouldn't be out here displaying your sexuality in front of your children like that. It's not. Either side is not great. So where do we draw the line? So this young man had a right to voice out how he felt with his child's mother. And you know what? He got the backlash, but kudos for him for speaking out. When do we stop letting shit fly? When do we take the rings back? And like Brother Maybach said, the clear folks, they did that back in the 60s with their movement. That's how the whole feminine movement started, was because of their women. And then they co-opted the black women, be like, ooh, sister girl, you got problems too. And now you joined the bandwagon. But guess what? They're still not riding for you. They're doing that because they got problems with their men. We're not fixing problems with our men. We don't want to listen to what he has to say because you had issues going back into childhood. I said this earlier. My father said, if your mom didn't get a divorce, you were a teenage mother. That's a fact. I probably would have been a little older. The fact that he was very viable and he was a predominant parental to teaching me about cleanliness. My mom, I love her to pieces. That's my master teacher. She gave me the spirituality of things, but my dad gave me the bootstraps. Like, yo, go wash yourself up. You're a little girl. You need to be clean. I'm puppy dog tails. I'm the little boy in the house. And so I appreciate that man for being that parent for me. And I feel like there's not a lot of that going on anymore. We got a dying breed because we have women with this administration of, I could do it all. And yeah, sure, you can. But I tell you this much, If your back is against the wall and there's somebody that's attacking you, you would sure enough want a man there to protect you. Yeah, you could get a gun, you can get a knife. There's got to be a balance, is what I'm trying to say. Anybody else want to chime in really quickly? I think we can digress this. We're going to beat this.
I agree. It has to be a balance, but we also have to understand that a lot of these things, these issues that we're talking about, like, oh, I lost my train of thought. Sometimes females have to be strong.
Right.
And they have been raised by strong women. So all they know how to do is be strong and be a strong woman and get the mentality to where they.
Yep. Absolutely. That's right.
Because why are these feminine energies feeling like that? Because many feminine energies have been left alone in their communities. They have been abandoned by males. So therefore you do get the mentality that I can do it all by myself, whether you want to or not. So you have been preconditioned to be a strong woman. And it shouldn't be like that. More men are also the problem. We have to look at the problem from both sides. Yes, women are the problem and men are the problem. We all have to step up into those positions that we are supposed to step up in as men and as women. And we don't want it to get to where it's being shamed, because we do know that a lot of people who are coming out now in older age, they are coming out now because they were ashamed by their families because of their sexuality. And now they feel comfortable, just like Bruce Jenner. Look how long it took him to be comfortable enough to come out and speak his truth. And he still got backlash.
Wasn't he like at one point like, damn, I want to turn back to a man?
I'm not sure.
Yo, that was like a couple of years ago. He was like, yeah, I'm like thinking about going back, man.
But they criticized him. His family criticized him and shamed him the whole time. They knew he was going through that transition. If you go back to the episodes, you can see where they shamed him. He had the ponytail. But nobody but them knew
don't even talk
that he was going through a transition. That's why he don't deal with them like that. Well, we're not even gonna go there, but we know that Kris Jenner has a strong personality. She is always in her masculine energy. She's not in her feminine energy too often. And Bruce was in his feminine energy. But we don't want it to be. We do have to find balance, because we don't want people to be ashamed of who they are. But we also don't want it to be an effect to where you're pushing it off on everybody else who does not believe the same thing that you believe. That's where I think the balance needs to be. It's okay. We can believe what we want to believe as long as we're not hurting anybody. But don't push your beliefs and how you feel on the next person, because that's how we build this society of bitter females. These teenage girls, they're revolting because of the way that they've seen their mothers being treated by the men in their environment. We got to remember that as well. So we can't always just say, we want to build each other up and stop beating each other down. That's where the balance needs to be at.
I could dig it. Oh, and coincidentally, Bruce Jenner is a Scorpio.
I didn't know that.
I just looked it up.
Of course you did.
I'm like, wait a minute, he's giving me Pisces vibes. No, he's still a water sign, nonetheless. Okay, Maybach, go ahead.
No, I agree with Lotus talking about as far as like it's on both sides, male, female. We just got to help ourselves. People thinking there's gonna be the sky the sky god is gonna come down, or whatever they believe in, whatever they think, that's on them. But I'm just saying, like, we got to stop being self-efficient. I was watching a video that talked about a lot of these challenges that come out on TikTok is done by them.
Right, of
To
course.
see, yeah, and it's a study, and people don't get it. Whether it's the crate challenge, people falling off of that, breaking their arms, legs, and cracking their skull. It's just a bunch of stuff. It's like, yo, like, you don't even do the research on what you're doing. You're just following what other. Oh yeah, my friend's doing it, so I'm doing it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it all comes from something negative, and nobody's doing their research, trying to figure out where did this come from. You know what I'm saying? I remember when LL had a pant leg up, and a friend started doing it. I'm like, yo, bro, you don't even know where that come from. But anyways, by me speaking the way I speak, because I was like that then too.
I didn't know where that came from. I just liked it because it was cool.
Well, he went and did his research, and it's a symbolism to FM, to the FM people. You know who I'm talking about? FM.
It's your introduction, your ritual.
Yeah, the free people, those free people. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. No, I know this.
Yeah.
It's always, they're always gonna push out this type of stuff, and whoever they bait it out, and whoever bites, hook, line, and sinker, you're gonna get a traction off of it.
Correct.
Question,
right? Let me.
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a quick question? Did you see the all white party in the Hamptons?
I did not, but I heard.
Look into that, Michael Rubin, right? This guy made me, like, when I saw it, I thought it was funny, right? Like, a rapper's being sandwiched, right? But I didn't think nothing of it till a YouTuber did a video about it, and the YouTuber's like, why it's always the melanated rappers to always do the humiliation ritual, right? But then but you see Tom Brady there, Robert Kraft is there, these billionaires, multimillionaires, they're not going through nothing. You understand what I'm saying? They could look normal as possible, but it's always, they got little baby, like, basically in the sandwich, like an Oreo, like he's the cream, and yeah, and I'm just like, yo, and he's looking like he's loving it, like he's enjoying it, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But yeah, I want you to see it.
I got a gist of the murmurs that are going around, but Puffy used to have those white parties out in the Hamptons every summer.
Correct.
So this is cool that they got the clear person doing it, but you've always been doing that stuff. You're always nefarious things. Again, when we're talking about the Lotus, we're removing those because that's not our reality. That these people live in they're doing all kinds of weird shit that not the regular is doing. However, like I emphasizing, is being trickled over into reality, sort of say, right? So that a child did the crate challenge. You know what I didn't know the Keke thing. My daughter, said to me yesterday about it. And said, "Ma, you heard about what's going on with Keke?" I'm like, "No." And she told me, what happened. I automatically took defense to the guy. And she's like, "This is why I can't talk to you." Well, she's like, "If I want to talk to you about a guy's perspective, I'll come to you because you think like a man. But to be like, you don't have the heart of like that feminine, soft, motherly." And I'm like, she's like, "You're always going to take like the side of them, but you won't take like the side of the girl." And I'm like, all right, maybe he's jealous. Maybe they're not together and that's why he spoke out. But understand this, and I think you guys know this already on the platform, that I am my heart is in alliance and almost with allegiance with the men folk more than with the women folk. So I have empathy towards especially the melanated and Hispanic boys, men in our society. Because I was conditioned in elementary school of what they did to your so-called black man during so-called slavery. We never was taught that there were European slaves and that they were done unjustly. Go read J. Rogers' 100 Amazing Facts of the Negro. We weren't taught this. So I'm going to have, yes, the women were, misabused and used during that time as well. But these men pulled apart. They were castrated. I was myself hearing this as a love and affection that my father showed me. I had this affinity towards that male masculine energy and my father's a Pisces, was a Pisces. So he gave me the divine feminine masculine energy in one. So, when my daughter told me about Keke, I was like, yeah, she's wrong. And she's like, Mom, she can dress however she wants to dress. And I'm just like, oh, you're talking to the wrong person then, because you're going to have to break me all the way down to see what you're seeing, because, but, she did. And she helped me get that perspective in. So, I won't always see the other side of the spectrum, and that's why I wanted to have people come up here, because we need to have that kind of diversity, and I love that Lotus is giving us the opposite, that whole like, listen, I'm in that Lilith, I'm in that feminine, I'm in this, this is what it is, right? And then we have the menfolk come up here and just dive in and let us know, how they feel about it, because I don't want to be just one whole-sided and Bible thumping and morally you got to be right. Listen, I could get down with the dirtiest of it all, but I know how to conduct myself to where I have to be morally sound about certain things, and it may not seem right to other people because they'll be like, oh well, you was just doing this, you was just like this and the third. But when I pull myself back into the, that's not really right, and I'm the forerunner for my family, you got to pick and choose and weigh out your options. So,
and that's true.
Go ahead, Lotus.
And that's true. We do, and I like getting both sides of it. I like to debate, but I guess I'm like more. I can view it from all sides and all angles, because I do have brothers and I do have masculine and males in my life. So I know how they may perceive things, and I know how I may perceive things. I don't perceive things the way a lot of people perceive that, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay to live in my truth. It doesn't make the next person's point any less valid than mine.
Right.
Or vice versa. So I love the conversation. I'm glad we did have the conversation.
Me too, because it was kind of egging me on. This is like the more stuff I was seeing, and then I'm getting comments back to me about, listen, and I'm like, because I get invested in some of these things sometimes, only because it's a moral, and not even a moral, it's a society conduct, And if I'm out there in society, like doing this platform streaming and things of that nature, I'm kind of got my ear to the street on certain things, just to get kind of going on. And how does that, because I have a teenage child, so that outside world is going to influence her in some ways, because she is out more than I am. Need to be kind of tapped in to gauge the dialogue there, gauge the temperature, and be like, okay, I can see what's going on, let me look into what else is going on, because I'm coming from a different mind frame, and my mind frame is going to look a little different from what's going on out there, because that's not how it is out there. And to have this conversation, we need to because if we're trying to heal from our past traumas and our childhood traumas and our wounds, and we're always like having some type of disagreement with people, okay, and we may not always come to a full end, but as we're like, we could see what you're saying and stand in our own truth, like that is going to help us move forward, because we're like in this weird world right now that it's like not only are we battling the sexes, but we're battling a lot of stuff that's like, listen, let them deal with them and let us. You still got people that want to be inclusive with other things and not take care of their own backyard and clean up their house, but they rather just dip and leave and see the grass is greener on the other side. And it's like, what now? So we got a lot of that going on. Just these small little platforms here where we can just kind of get to the next stage and just, okay, we're talking about this, and we may have to resurface it again, right? Revisit this conversation again, because as long as that's going on, there's always going to be the conversation for it. Because we do need to heal. Like Lotus said, we are in the spiritual year, right, with 2023, but we're in the age of Aquarium, where it's the I know now. It's the I see things. Your beliefs are going to change. People are falling by the wayside and giving up on religion, and some. I think the Christians are. You got more people flocking to become a Muslim than you do signing up to go into, to church. I think people are still looking for that grounding because they're being lost in this quickening that's happening. You see more of a spirituality going on, like us, that we are here. We do, readings and so forth and so on. People wanting to dabble into something that was taboo or considered taboo before, because everybody's kind of like searching now. Oh, what do I? The being shown, right? And so people are scrambling out, like, okay, darkness. Now let's look. So they find to without. If we have these to just people grounded, because some people need to be grounded. They can't always just be up there in the seventh chakra. Be grounded and not understand there's things out there that you may not be able to handle just yet. But come to the light, Carol Ann. Stay on this side for a minute so you get your footing, and then you can take off. People need to still have that kind of sense of gravity, because the world is shifting upward and onward, and there's a rapture happening, and not everybody can. They're being disheveled with this quickening, and they don't understand what's going on, and they're being propelled into another direction. So, yeah, we need to have these conversations every now and then.
Especially with how we're evolving, and it's going to be so much more evolution. It's just, and they're going to try to distract us from it. But
right,
we all have to evolve at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you choose to evolve today or you choose to evolve tomorrow, it's
right.
all about evolution. And how we perceive things is going to change, because the things that we see that's going to start coming out are going to be different. And there are going to be some things that we didn't think could ever happen. So you have to be willing to evolve and change how you believe things and how you see things, because they're not how we perceive them. Especially with all of the miracles that are going to start taking place. And these are things that we've forgotten about, that we don't think that exist. So everybody got to keep their eyes open, and it's going to be more debates about more than this, because of the way things are going to start coming out that have been hidden for so long. And we have to talk about them to bring awareness. So, and I appreciate you for having this conversation today, because it was a much needed conversation. But despite how anybody feels about it, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Because we do need to start, when we're in relationships, we have to start setting up healthy boundaries and letting people know what our boundaries are, before they even cross the boundaries.
Indeed. All right. So with that being said, guys, thank you everybody who came through. There's a lot of you that I saw in the chat and I haven't seen in a while. So salute to you guys. Thank you for Lotus and Brother Maybach for holding it down with me on the panel. Also JBJ. And, you know, everybody that gave us some feedback. I saw Cosmology Babe throwing in some stuff in there, some heavy questions. 22 was in there throwing us some reminders, right? So everybody, FL, don't want to miss anybody. My big cat, of course, for holding it down in the mod section. Always love it when you're here. Love to see you. Who else did we have? We had Evie Eve in the building. I don't know why she couldn't come through because she has a good perspective on these things as well. Who else? So we had Hollow in the building. Salute to him. Prince Allen was in the building. Salute again. Thank you. Brother Hollow, it's good to see you. Let's see. We can go back early too. I think we had Wally. Wally stepped through. Salute to Wally. Smitty was here early in the building. He came through, was like, I'm in and out, love and loyalty. Good to see her. Haven't seen her in a minute. Everybody who's up in the bushes listening in, thank you. The Black Zionist, that was a rarity. Salute to him for coming through. Because I see him in the conscious YouTube streets. And it's like L was in the building. Haven't seen him in a minute as well. I appreciate him for dropping through. And I think I've had everybody else. Yeah. And if I didn't, I apologize, but know that you are not missed. You are here. I see you. I see you guys, and I appreciate everyone stopping through. I don't know when I'll be in the cards again. I'll probably, like a look out for the community section to give information. What's next on with the channel. The other channel I have inside Foxy's Mind, which is kind of like I just didn't feel like going over there. And those who have my Instagram, you guys, go there as well. Foxy Moon _spiritual alchemist. Again, Foxy Moon _spiritual alchemist. That is my IG page. You guys can go there to check out what's going on lately when I post. Messages as well. You guys know I'm still in my grieving process with my dad transitioning about 3 months ago now. So the cards is not really calling me. I look at them every day and I'm just like, my mind is like, I'm on another like journey of self-discovery and I'm not doing personal readings still because I want to have my mind clear as possible to, have that relationship of transferring the messages to people that need to hear their message. And I don't want to taint it with somebody trying to tap into my reading that it's about me. So I need some time and space to have that clear a little bit and then come back and then do personal readings. I may do a lot and have, just do the cards and do it that way. But we also just coming out a big super moon. We're going into retrogrades. We got Neptune in retrograde. We got Pluto in. So that's that under type energy. More energy is going to be showing and showing out. We also have Venus in retrograde now, so that's you're not gonna get the love, you're gonna get the one night stand. So if you're in a relationship, you need to have these conversations and talk to your partner how they feel. This is that conversation that you bring to your partner. How would you feel if I did, and vice versa? But get into something moment. There's going to be a stand relationships, Venus and that's a. You got Pluto where that's the illusion and that's full energy. So you're not really going to get something tangible. You're going to get something that's going to be on some, I like the way you look, and go for that in that respect. So just look out for that type of energy. That is going to be here for a while. Again, we had the full moon. We got a solar we had an eclipse already. That was back in May. I think there's a big eclipse, or maybe I'm missing the two, but I think it was either 2024 or it's this year that there was closing out a big grand eclipse that was happening over the states. So a lot of energy. We had some solar flares that just happened within the past 3 days. So headaches, body aches, a lot of ascension symptoms, descension symptoms. So you definitely want to drink a lot of water. Keep your mind as fluid as possible. Keep your body as fluid as possible. I know some of the countries going through like a heat wave, right? So you want to incorporate a lot of water, but not just drinking water, but eating fruits and vegetables that have a lot of water content in it, right? If you got your crystals, you guard yourself up that way. And just be mindful in these moments. Be mindful in the space that we're in right now, because you want to. Every step you make wants to be a conscious decision at this point, because we're in energy thing that's going on right now. You want to get caught up in the wave tide of things. You want to be conscious, grounded in the decisions that you're making, right? All right. So all being said, yesterday was 7 Lotus. That's a high number. They look at the draw. So, and salute who's Cancer energy, mother sign. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fantastic. Find it can be a little vicious, a little scary. In aspects of your life, but conduct yourself as you would. If you don't pay attention to any of the signs, any of the zodiac, anything, just be mindful when you walk every day. Be conscious of how you're going to conduct your day. Be conscious of how you talk to yourself and others, right? Because they are a reflection of you and you of them. So everything is on a, let me think things out first before I make a move. The impulsiveness needs to be checked every now and then. So we got to be on some, let me think things through first and see how this works out. If I'm not jiving with it, go with your gut instinct. And that's all I got to say for that, guys. Again, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us for 3 hours and 2 minutes, 43 seconds. I appreciate every one of you and the replay gang that's going to be coming through the replay. So peeps, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around for this long and hearing us have this conversation. All right. So with that all being said, peace. Catch you on the flip side. Thank you, guys. Thank you, my Lotus. Okay.